back in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Brick Something News. And once again, I got to say good afternoon because it's been a strangely back-to-back West Coast guest. So we're all in the same time zone. Today, it's Brian Burke. What's up, Brian?
What's up? Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So excited.
We both occupy, words chosen carefully, the West Coast.
That's right.
I'm a little
Very proud.
south in California.
Yeah.
San Francisco now, but born and raised in LA. And
Nice.
You're up in Oregon. Is
Yeah,
that
Portland, Oregon? Yeah.
Always been home, or
I'm from San Diego, so
shoot.
originally San Diego. Then parents divorced,
Uh-huh.
and then came to Oregon. Yeah. So
How long did you spend time in San Diego?
We moved here when I was 7, so early.
Oh,
But
you're a little guy.
but through the divorce, I would go visit my dad every summer. So I was there, many years afterwards. Just my heart's down there. I love the area. I love San Francisco, LA, San Diego, some of my favorite places. And so that's it. That's where I'm from.
I'm definitely a West Coast kid, and I love it too. Born and raised in LA, like I said, went to school in Santa Barbara, so kind of like slowly made my way north. Yeah. And landed here. We're gonna talk toys. We started talking before then. There's so many other things to talk about that are happening right now, but the nice thing is we got this plastic stuff to put pause on the real world. Talk about fun, creative. Yes. You were doing some amazing stuff. I know you're gearing up to reveal more of your own brand new action figure line.
Yes, sir.
That wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. No, it's been so, I've been so busy with it that I really haven't felt the gravity of it. And I think it'll happen at Legion's Con, right? To really show it. It's like it's releasing something to the world, right? Officially. I've done some sneak peeks, but for people to see the physical model, it's different, right?
Oh yeah.
You go from 3D renders, which look great. Everyone starts off with that. So everyone can do that, right?
Yep.
And then you go to the unpainted prototype.
Sorry.
And then
not everyone can do that, but yes.
Right. Yes. What I meant is most releases, like sneak peeks, are of 3D renders. So a lot of people do those things. And then what happens is it starts to get a little more real when you have the printed prototype that's just all gray, right? Then you're like, oh, because then what happens is that next step, because when you go to toy fairs, you go to cons, you see the prototypes and they're gray, right? It's the natural progression of your prototype is that. Then what happens is you slap some paint on, you do a paint master, then you're like, okay. And then it starts to really come together. And then as a designer myself, it's kind of neat because then you bring it out to the real world and see the real reaction from people. So Legion's Con, I think, is going to be that moment where the gravity really sets in, because seriously, it's probably 10, 15 hours a day for the past, I don't know how many months. I've just been working on design and marketing, or the character Bible and the lore of everything. And so it's been a wild ride. Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
For those just hear Brian talk about the design and the marketing stuff, the character Bible. I definitely want to touch upon that, because folks who've been watching the show know that I'm really into design. I was a designer, illustrator, done that stuff in the past, and now I famously teach. And but I'm attuned to it, and I love the action figure stuff. I love looking at the design of the figures, etc. But I love looking at boxes and packaging. And a couple weeks ago, some of my favorite episodes were with Jeremy, and we were like getting geeky around the marketing strategy and approach and stuff. And I'm just like so into that.
That could be a whole nother episode. If you want to have me sit down and just talk about the psychology and marketing and how you do it, dude, I nerd out on that all the time. So,
well, the reason I bring it up now, because it's like what I'm amazed by, because you just said, I'm doing this. Like you're literally doing it. And you've been doing it for 5 years as Von Burke Studios. I think before the name maybe even came up, before the logo, which we'll kind of talk about today. But just, I was going through kind of prepping for the show to give folks a little bit of background about who you are and what you've done with like customs and building up your sort of brand, if you will, but the marketing decisions and the approach that you take. And I'm just like, oh man, I love this. I love watching it develop. So that's cool. We'll do that for sure. We're going to do that not alone today. We've got a couple folks with us already, and I'm sure some folks will hop in. But this guy's been here bright and early. What's up, Blake? Good to see you.
What's up, dude?
Your neck of the wood. He's
right up the street. Yeah, right up the street.
Super excited for this episode. I love it. Cool. Josh Brown, what's up, Josh?
What's up,
Good
JB?
to see you.
Yeah.
Another guy I've been talking about sort of design and marketing about great stuff. You guys are I'm jealous, but I'm happy for you guys. You guys are going to have a dope Legions Con. I know this guy will be there as well. What's up, Larry? Good to see you. Awesome. JMac77. Let's highlight his CV here for a second. His claim to fame was that he was in a D4 guild with you, sir, and he had a sweet necro nose. Of course, right? Surprise. Yeah, his designs, amazing figures. You guys been playing for a while now?
Gosh, I haven't played Diablo in quite some time, but it's that thing, right? It's that thing. What immerses you into that space, and it's movies, it's books, it's video games, it's all of it, and you just bring it all together. But yeah, it's and especially the Diablo space, it goes way back, and so there's good lore, good design. So yeah, it's a good place to operate in on times when you can. I wish I can game more than I do. I don't have time for it these days. My screen time is all design, so.
It's funny. I was just talking to someone because I've been talking figures, and this guy has hit my shelf. It's a World of Warcraft thing, and I was like telling someone like I don't play World of Warcraft, but I was like a big Warcraft fiend. That was like 94 to 98. So I somehow evaded the World of Warcraft stuck. So I'm glad to have these now. So like
they're
I'm
beautiful.
thinking about like the Diablo stuff and just of course, Mythic Legions, all this sort of like high fantasy, dark fantasy, all this stuff that was, we didn't kind of get in toy form. Like now we're getting them, and we're getting them in like such high quality. So it's cool. And of course, we get inundated in it. And then you, myself, JMac, were like, can we get plastic versions of these? And and we're turning to these guys. He's ready for your line, man. He's ready for your line.
Let's do it.
E. McNeil, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for being here.
What's
always
up,
supporting. Yes. JD Gibson is here. Hello.
What's up?
God, I love that. I love that head sculpt. That will come.
Yeah, dude, it's so good.
Andrew, what's up? Andrew Gady's Toys is here. Ahoy, hoy. Nolan is here. What's going on?
Hey, man.
Black Phoenix, what's up, Alex? Rick Jones, fellow Bay Area head. What's going on?
Very cool.
We've got Game Quest here. Happy Sunday. Time for the news. Needless ephemera. We saw that that intro. It just occurred to me I should say this because clearly I've cribbed notes off of MTV, which was a huge part of my childhood. They just shut their doors officially.
Not wild.
Yeah, so they're not active IP, so I don't have to worry about getting sued. No, J Toys 666 is here. JZ Toys.
What's up?
Love it. What's up from Philly?
Man. Thanks.
You rule. Freaks Figures. What's going on, man? Been hanging out with this guy a lot on chat. It's awesome to see you. Here you go. He's you can haul Lilith now from McFarlane if you want, but you could also hail Lilith as well.
Nice one. Well played.
Solo Sinner is here. What's going on, man? Always good to see you. And Justin Mohan is already saying your toy line looks amazing.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I've been excited to share some of the stuff here. And, actually, Himmel has been here around this time last year. He was prepping for Legions Con.
Yeah.
And it was fun going back through your IG and sort of seeing how some of the seeds and the ideas for what has now become ASHEN OATH started through that. And man, I think it's just so exciting to think that like you're creating parts for this, you know, budding Mythic Legions customizing community.
Totally.
And exploring aesthetics and characters. And now here you are.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's really exciting, you know, to be in a community or a platform or toy line, to be involved in a way, you know, that helps cultivate something like what I'm doing now, you know, with the figure line and just taking notes, you know, from just not just from a design aspect, but how do people react to certain things? It's like a and B testing, right? How does this character work? How does this character? Do people like my skulls? Do people like the humans or whatever it's going to be? And I can just kind of go back and look to see where was the activity, or where does, you know, what really, you know, struck that chord or that note with people. And so, you know, being in the community with 4+ years, 5 years, I've collected a lot of data, you know, to come up with these characters. Just like you were saying, if you go back in some of my old IG posts, you can kind of start to see a trend a little bit and where I was going.
It's great. And it's not like, so I know you're definitely like wearing a hat and thinking about it in terms of the business end, but also like it's incredibly creative from the beginning. Like you're creating parts, as we'll see in a second, for an existing line. And shout out to the 4 Horsemen and Jeremy in particular, who like he was Mythic Customs doing amazing stuff himself. Like that guy
totally
could, like, he created characters through the years that, like, man, I would love them as toys as well, as production toys as well. But you know, one of the things that we talked about was the upcoming Legions Con and how there's the indie toy, what do they call them? The Indie Toy Maker Showcase, I think is kind of indie creator. And that's been a thing with Legions Con since the beginning. You know, last year I got to go with Spiro, and it's, you know, Jason's always just like showing love and gratitude to the Horsemen
he's
for
great.
The inspiration, but also just like really kickstarting this, sorry, no pun intended, this whole like indie toy thing that's happening here in the US right now. And so creators like yourself, Spiro Toys, Galactic Valor, the Legendary folks, ODS, and on, right? But now that's become kind of like this awesome hub at Legions Con. And from the get, probably because of their experiences, you know, budding toy makers in the industry through McFarlane and seeing the industry change and develop, and then eventually wanting to do their own thing. Has like, I don't know, it's great. I think I said it, I mentioned it with him that like, you know, they helped sort of kick the door down for some of the indie toys, but they're also like held the door, right? To borrow from Game of Thrones, right? They held the door open for other creators. And now, like, Jeremy and Legions Con is sort of like actively bringing folks in, you know, introducing us to you, ASHEN OATH, to From the Realm, Brutal Realm, all the newer lines as well. And I mean, as a toy collector,
highly welcome. You know, I mean, with open arms, I can reach out to any of those guys and they're like, hey, what do you need? You know, Jason's amazing, you know, with info about just production and different, you know, ideas. And, you know, Jeremy and the 4 Horsemen, all those guys just, you know, at any time, they'll just chat with you and say, hey, this is what can we do to help you out? You know? And so it's just amazing. The community is amazing.
Rising tides. So that's pretty much the community I know that you started in. We'll look at that stuff in a second. Let's say hello to a couple folks who jumped in. Charlie Square, good to see you, man. Welcome. And then I think this is a real great, just to put a pin in what we were saying. The 4 Horsemen have definitely been a staple in many creators' inspiration.
For sure.
So let's talk inspiration real quick, like general inspiration, before we take a look at your toy custom stuff. I'm curious. You were talking about little San Diego 7-year-old kid moving up to Oregon.
Right.
Like, when do you stumble into kind of this nerdy milieu of whatever? What is it? Was it cartoons, comics?
You
know, there's some music elements. Like what kind of moved you towards this genre of toys and sort of the fantasy thing in general?
You know, I think, you know, similar story to many, you know, cartoons, early anime, you know, Star Blazers and Robotech and all that, the old, you know, old good stuff, I think was the initial foundation of you know, for creativity and art. I remember when, you know, I saw, this is going to date me a little bit, but I saw Star Wars in 1977, you know, the grand opening.
Yeah, nice.
I was, you know, 6 years old. There you go. There's, you got it. And so I saw that, and leading up to that, all the newspaper ads, I was drawing TIE fighters, and it was just a little circle, 2 lines and 2 lines this way, right? All over the newspaper. And I think that's really what started my art direction, was when Star Wars released. I was so inspired by that I would just, so it started there, and then later progressed into when I was in San Diego, I would buy blank skateboards at the swap meet, and I would draw on it, and I draw skulls on the skateboards and sell them to local skate shops. And so that was my first kind of like entrepreneurial adventure in artwork, you know. So I would sell, I do artwork on t-shirts at school and things like that. So
that's
awesome. very skateboard driven at the time. I mean, I skated my entire life, and a lot of it has that real, you know, back in those days, kind of a little bit darker side of graphic design, and you know, a little bit edgier. And so I think it was really training my taste, you know, creating a palette, you know, like what's my flavor, you know, what's my flavor palette for design. And it was very alternative kind of culture, like the alt, you know, that kind of idea. So
I love that. So real quick, one, I think that's awesome. 2, like, I know you're dating, you and other folks, Rick and Allison, are vibing on the age. I was a little bit after you, but you're about my brother's age. My brother was 71. I was born in 76. He too was a 6-year-old kid who got to see Star Wars, not New Hope, but Star Wars.
Yep.
But both he and I, you know, we're Southern California kids, LA area. Also, like, we came up at a time where it was kind of a mix of things. It was actually kind of like musically hip hop, punk rock, and of course all the sort of other subcultural things that come with it, right? With whether it was the clothing, the sports, right? But it all had like this DIY spirit at that time because it was new. And so, you know, when it was with hip hop, it was just like, dude, like, listen to K-Day, check this out, AM radio, and passing around tapes, and you would make, like, there was this act of making a thing. And then same goes with punk. It was just like, check this out, or check out these hand done flyers, or check out these, you know, records and cassettes that you do, or you go to shows and you'd pay $5, and like there's no like real security. It was just we opened up the space. But all of that, like skating, like you said, I remember doing the same thing, like basically like painting on a friend's deck, and just being, wow, that felt kind of cool. Like, and you made a thing. So I love that that's it's your core, because if you look at what you're doing, you're telling me like, this is it. This is your gig right now. And so you building all of this, and you're doing a lot of it yourself. So that DIY kind of thing seems to be in you.
You had to. In those days, you know, skateboarding wasn't commercialized, and I mean, it was frowned upon in a lot of areas. I remember there was a time when skateboarding was banned in the malls because people,
it's not
you know,
a crime.
It's right. And so you had to do these really underground things to satisfy that creativity, and is things like you were saying, drawing like paint pens on grip tape, or it was doing these different things where the appreciation behind it was the subculture, and then you really wanted more of that, like, oh, I can get my work out there through these different means, you know. And so you nailed it with that whole the struggle in the 80s of doing things like that. And it was like the bands of that time too, like punk was, you know, hardcore was pretty fresh and new. You're coming out of, you know, the 70s, the late 70s era, right, of like punk music, like Clash and Sex Pistols, and then now you start getting into hardcore and Misfits, you know, late 70s, and these different things, and it started kind of incorporating this really cool edge. It was a little bit darker, and it was new, right? And so it really supported your direction as an artist of creating something new that there was, you know, shocking maybe, you know. So
100%.
And that's you know, part of my drive nowadays is, can I create something that's a little bit shocking or unexpected? And I think that's like my favorite thing, is, can I make something that's a little bit unexpected? That's one of the biggest drives for the line too. It's like, okay, he's done these things, what's this gonna be? You know,
I love that.
So,
I see that in the aesthetics. I see, you know, again, even the colors, and we'll get to, you're talking about painting and everything. That's what Trevor was saying. It's like, when you guys were on Legion's Con, it's like, I don't know, Brick, hilarious. What are you thinking? It's like, was this black and white? And totally, like, I thought, like, because you're showing them in a very like
made sense
grayscale.
Yeah.
And, there have been some other lines more recently coming out of China where they're doing like really desaturated kind of thing.
Cool stuff.
It just pops in a weird way.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I don't know, maybe variants or something down
and
the road.
I get that. And when I first heard that, I was like, oh, ashen, like ash.
Exactly.
It really looks like and feels like it's going to be a monotone color palette, but it's not.
But it's not. That's fine. It's not, as we'll see. I was just saying, like, stylistically, man, again, I'm visually driven and it stands out from everything. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like that's,
and that's my hope. That's my hope that it has that effect on others too.
Yeah. What's up, Steph? Good to see you. What's up to the other folks who hopped in? Collecting Brothers, good to see you. Tuvaz is here. They were singing the praises. They've got a couple of your designs.
Cool.
We got Collecting Brothers. I love it, man. Okay. So here's a shout out for a indie comic. I love it. Read a comic called Grommets. It's about skateboarding in the 80s and it's amazing. I'll check that out.
Cool.
Love that. Picturing like
I don't think
down those
grommets. Yeah, I don't think I've ever read a comic that's based in skateboarding. That's cool.
I have not either. So yeah,
very cool.
All right, the music's there, the DIY spirit is there, and creating your own thing, skating, subculture, all that stuff. I'm assuming that's where you got like you developed some of your design chops and your art chops of just being a maker. Yeah.
It was. I mean, I remember exactly when the toy thing came into play. I started customizing Power of the Force 2 action figures in mid 90s. And I remember at the time there were two figures I wanted to see in the line. One was a Darth Vader with a removable helmet, because there was already a Darth Vader because it was in the first series or first wave. And then I wanted to create an AT-AT driver, like two of my favorite designs. Stormtrooper, Darth Vader, and AT-AT drivers, like three of my favorite armor designs. Like I just love the idea. And so those were the days, obviously, of using Fimo clay to sculpt and hollowing out helmets and trying to get this thing to fit, so that's when it all started, was mid 90s. I took a break, obviously, to just careers and things, life happens. That led me back into what I'm doing now. But mid 90s is when it started. A tackle box full of like chopped up pieces. And like I said, Fimo clay, baking them and trying to create, these different pieces, and then carding them, like recarding them to make your own characters. And then, so it goes.
I love that. Because for you, the figure was the thing.
Yeah,
sure. But then it was the whole game. It was the card, the packaging.
It was a magic trick. It was a magic trick where you wanted to pull this thing off to see if you can make it look as real as possible. Like it's like, I'm going to be an imposter in the space. I'm going to be this toy maker and create this thing and trick people into it. And then open it up, say, ta-da, no, it was just me. I made that thing. And so having that moment of like unexpected, like, a shock factor, it still resonates with me. Like that's what I carry into the ASHEN OATH, is like, what can I do, to have this, when I pick up a figure, whatever it might be, what gives me that moment? And so how can I do something like that in my space? And so, it went from design like that to mid 90s to, customizing. But I got into fashion. I got into fashion soon after that, because my previous career was in retail management. So I was doing, I was a district manager for a bunch of stores like Zoomies. It was a company called Mr. Rags at the time. And so our competitor was Zoomies. So we had skateboards, surf gear, the whole thing.
Sorry, I remember it was a whack logo, right? Some really bad font, Mr.
It was, it was cursive. It was like cursive. Okay. And it had like a zoot suit, like 80s, like silk suit. Silhouette. It was terrible.
Good design and bad design always sticks out.
And so from there, I was like creating, my own clothing lines, like skate lines and stuff like that. So it branched into the apparel kind of creation space, and then later into toys, of course. So that's the progression of
Did you ever do like a clothing line and stuff?
I did a couple. Went to New York and did the Soho district to shop stores to see who'd carry t-shirts, and it was kind of a flop. It was a flop.
I mean, you tried to do that.
I tried it.
I tried to do the real deal too. When I first, some early silk screening stuff is where, like, that's like band stuff. And then started trying to design stuff like late 90s here in the Bay. And
nice.
It was the streetwear era where everyone was
my God, right? Everyone had a clothing line. Streetwear. It was streetwear. Yep.
And then it got really expensive. And I was like, It was a little, anyways, but that's awesome. That's really cool. Okay. So I can totally see that translating maybe into the overall like look of your figures and your parts before then. Before we get into the custom parts, toy lines. So I heard Star Wars. That's a big thing. What were the sort of toy lines and IP that got you into toys, and then later, I guess, customizing before Mythic Legions?
Yeah, you know,
Legions.
The biggest one was I think mid to late 90s was McFarlane. You know, I think when those toys first hit, I was like, oh my God, this is the paint washes and the texture and everything on these were just amazing at the time. So that was probably later in my like first stage of customizing collecting was then, and then I took a break over time and just had it, you know, like I said, life happens. But then, you know, I remember seeing a Pink Skulls Mezco one time, and I was like, oh my God, I need to figure out how to get one of those. But I understand that I was buying, you know, figures that were like $29 or $34 a piece. And all of a sudden I'm like, I want these Pink Skull things. Right. And then looked at the price tag, and it was after the initial release. So they were like, that 3 set was just like insane, right? Like $700 or so, $800. I'm like, what? And so that started me down the rabbit hole of Mezco and collecting, you know, the oh, you know what's funny? Here's a funny story about Jeremy Gerard. And he knew I was getting into Mezco, and I didn't understand. I didn't know which ones to get into, and I asked about the neck because I thought about designing some customs for, like, doing some custom heads for like the Mezco stuff.
Yep.
And I said, I see 2 different styles. I see where there's a joint in the base of the head, and I see when it's at the base of the neck. And says, what am I looking at? He goes, well, these are the ones, you know, blah blah blah. You'd probably want to look at getting. I'm like, okay. And then I get this message from him one day, and he goes, I can't remember the exact words, but he says, go buy this thing right now. Here's a link, buy this. I'm like, okay. So I just went directly to the Mezco site, went there immediately and bought this thing. Right. I'm like, I don't know what I bought, but it's cool looking. It's a white skull action figure. Right. And I was like, oh, what is this? And he goes, just trust me. That's the one you want. I'm like, okay. So $100. Got it. Nice. Come to find out, it's the white skull, you know. And I was like, my God. And it was, you know, became super rare in the whole thing. And so then that got me down the rabbit hole of like the just all the other, you know, skull type or horror type. So the Rumble Society was the part that I really fell in love with. So
same.
And then some of the you know, the new Warhammer stuff, I think, is great. Joy Toys made some really cool pieces. I've really been enjoying those. Got into Black Series for a little while. A few of the G.I. Joes as well. But mostly, I mean, I'd say 90% of it's all, you know, 4 Horsemen stuff, Cosmic and Mythic. So
that's cool. No, that's really great. And it's funny, you went down this path. I kind of briefly mentioned the fashion thing and trying to do like this DIY thing. That's where the world I was coming from, zines and bands. And so trying to like merge that. And then I'm like going into shops here in San Francisco, and it's like at the time, not now, but like at the time, it was like $30 t-shirts. And for the late 90s was like, oh, so it's like the action figure thing. You're like, oh, I'm used to buying these $20-some or whatever McFarlane's, and like, oh, what's this? Cool, hip, stylish, awesome Mezco. But you're like, whoa. And so, and especially when you mentioned the Pink Skulls, like, is that not like the convergence of some of the things that we love? Toys, music, like
skulls, and leather jacket, the whole bomber jacket thing. I was just like, God, this is my jam. You know, this just takes me back. And so that got me into starting to look at some of the other lines that were just like, you know, pretty amazing. And, you know, learning about articulation too, just understanding why I loved them so much, like how they moved and how they posed. So
that's really cool. And obviously we grew up at a time when they didn't do all those things, and now they do. And I love that you're making figures, because you've basically been able to study all this stuff visually, engineering, how they move, how they're made. And now you're putting all that love and it's recognized. Solo Cinna, you're the best. $25 Canadian super chat. Thank you.
Dang. Nice.
Showing some love for bringing here. So I appreciate it. This is the point. This is about you. Bringing some love, bringing us some awesome guests each week. Have been refamiliarizing with Brian's Insta while watching WoW. Cool. Get ready, because that's exactly what we're gonna do. Literally super talented.
Big solo.
Absolutely loves your aesthetic. Seriously. And
cool. Thank you.
your aesthetic, like your vision, your sense of style and how you want to present these things is what I think really definitely I gravitate to as well. And I feel like you're doing some real like real clever, real I don't know, advanced, thoughtful stuff. So
cool. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah, let's take a look even from the earliest days. So like let's first jump over to your IG. And let me fix this. See, I can see this is the problem. Once you get like this weird aesthetic thing in your head, it's like, yeah, no, it's not right. The layout's not right. But folks, before we get started, if you're new to the show, I will be this little thing that's popping along the bottom there. I'll be putting together a series of links. So, I want people to see this stuff. As I said, I'm a visual person. Clearly, there's a lot of visual love put into this stuff. So you need to see it. You can't just listen to us and talk about it. Take a look, go follow, do all the things. The link down there, bit.ly/brick-something-news, capital B, capital S, capital news. And also that little QR code thing. That'll take you there. For the folks in the live, I will try my best to remember to drop the links in while we are talking. So there you go. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a little trip. This is you, Von Burke Studios on IG. Started about 5 years ago. Before I get too far on the IG, I do want to say, folks, you also should check out vonburkestudios.com where the stuff gets, lives. It's like the permanent residence of the studio there.
Yes.
And again, man, aesthetically awesome. Really just sets the tone for your brand in general, but also the new line. So all the stuff is here. You can check it out. It's not all necessarily available. There's like legacy stuff in here too, but it's killer stuff from the early. So check it out, learn all about him. But today, or is there anything you want to call out on the site that folks should know?
Yeah, I just launched this morning the first chapter in the story. If you go to the more tab at the top of the menu bar, if you hit more and go to more, and you hit blog.
Okie dokie.
And go blog. The first entry. There should be, if you go hit blog, I think you might have hit ASHEN OATH.
Oh, yeah.
So go more and then just hit blog at the top.
Yeah.
There we go. Maybe. Is it not link it to the?
It's coming.
It's coming. There it is. So I just posted the first part of ASHEN OATH story. So this is where it all starts, basically. So if you want to take time later, we don't have to read it right now. It's a 2-minute read.
Nice.
But it gives the basis. It gives the basis of where it all started. The Mortem King basically becomes who he is from this event that happens. And so it'll really set the pace of why you're going to hear a lot of choir type terminology, a lot of song terminology. Like the first wave of ASHEN OATH is going to be called the Mortem Song. So you're going to learn a lot about why there is characters called the Resident, right? There's different reasons why there's music or sound in this universe, and it's based around what happened during this event of the first chapter. So that's the newest call out from the website. And then I'll continue to add lore on here as well. You should see I have my lore Bible up over here. I have this massive lore Bible of each character of what would this character do if he stubbed his foot. Really weird stories like what does he eat? What motivates him? One of the things is our main character, Corthanus. He's the type of kid. His village name is Calden, but he becomes Corthanus. But Calden is the kid who pulls the spider the fly out of the spider web. He saves little creatures. He's like the ultimate good kid. And so I paint these pictures of these characters in this Bible of, what would they do in these situations? That way you take them later when they evolve into something greater. How do they leverage these experiences? That's how we react as adults, I would assume, right? It's just from childhood experiences, what we eat, how we've been brought up, how we were, a parental structure, the whole thing, right? Is how we become who we are today on the show. Different things like that.
Yeah. Like creating this rich world, but also like going back to the history of these characters, which, it's great. It's funny because when you were describing yourself and your history, obviously we get touchstones of like, oh, this is what I experienced as a kid and this is where I'm at.
Yes. Right.
To think about your characters in that way, I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, and it navigates the design of the characters too. You know, it's like what kind of armor would the Mortem have? You know, why, you know, what does Mortem even mean? You know, it basically means death, right? And so you have a death knight. So okay, well, here's this concept. And so it's, you know, it's one of those things you need some sort of a foundation, like I said, the character Bible, to really build out the story. It's massive. Like I said, this is a 2-minute read of just basically what happened to kick off a whole Mortem thing. But I have other sections that are going to happen that's going to talk more about the characters. And
I love that. Yeah. Can I ask how long? Well, first, I'm assuming, I think I know the story, but Justin is asking, is anybody helping with the story? And how long have you been working on that Bible?
Oh my gosh. It's been a year, I would say, at least, you know, just working on the idea. The Mortem characters have been around for, oh my gosh, the first Mortem Knight head sculpt I did for Mythic Legion's bodies was, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. That was my opening. I had 3 characters. There was Mortem Knight. There was a Verdo Orc, which was a vampire orc. And then Ravon Skull, it's a Raven Skull. And those were the 3 initial head sculpts. And some people on the show, I guess, will probably remember those. But those were
we'll be looking at them too.
My 3 initial head sculpts that kicked off my you know, custom career, I guess, with, you know, Mythic Legions. So
that's awesome. And so, real quick, do you answer Justin's? Is anybody helping you, or this is your all your work right now? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's some, you know, I definitely have mentorship, you know, people talking. I'll have you know, especially with the lore, I'll have a question and say, you know, how would you write this, or how would you convey this situation? How do we reverse engineer this kind of thing? This is my thought. And what's amazing is I've had several people just reach out and say, hey, if you need any help at all, you know, let me help with this. And so I have a nice toolbox of people that are just ready to go.
Partners.
Huh?
Thought partners, for sure. Yeah, to take in and just, you know, to bounce ideas out. I love that.
Absolutely. Okay. And my goal, you know, it's like creating Von Burke Studios. It could have been either Von Burke Studio or Von Burke Studios. And the reason I did studios is because eventually I thought to the future, can I have these pods of studios that are remote? Could I have a writer that's here? Could I have a designer that's over in the future? Right. So I wanted to be multiple pods of studios that were under the umbrella of Von Burke Studios. And so my goal is, you know, with ASHEN OATH is, where can I expand the energy to help build this line? You know, I can only do so much.
Right on. No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Again, the forethought, and the, you know, design, creating the thing to container.
Yeah. And you have to be a time traveler, right? It's like, there's times where I'll be, you know, with my wife and we'll be driving, and I just won't be there for a second. And I'll be somewhere in the future thinking about and I'll actually be there, right? I'll be there. And then I just think, how do I reverse engineer back to now, and then replay that back and create that path to go forward? And I try to think about it that way.
It's cool. So we can do a little bit of that. So we know ASHEN OATH is coming. There's a whole line.
Yeah.
Let's go back to January 29, 2020, at least, where you kind of kicked off on IG. And then it was early on, just kind of sharing this cobbled together Mythic Legions. Well, mostly just Mythic Legions figure, right?
Yeah.
And I love that, of course, knowing where you landed eventually. It started off with a knight in armor,
Eric,
or skull in armor, right?
Yes.
What's up, Eric? Yeah, it's really cool. And so you mentioned, and then I
look at that, 100 followers. I love that. I mean, I'm not very big right now, but 100 was a big deal at that time.
Oh, it is that first. It's always a big deal building. And how, again, I love the skeleton in armor, right? It's like these ideas they were there, right? And just inspiring you, and like, again, pulling from the past. But I thought this was really cool, really early on. Like, you were working with clay, as you said,
before 3D.
And I love that you were doing bone wings a couple years before we get bone wings in the line. And they're like, you know, I mean,
I still have those somewhere. Yeah.
I
tried to cast them, and if you know anything about casting anything of things, those tips of those wings, and for the resin to even flow, oh my gosh, you would have so many different, like, exhaust port, or like, I don't know if you call them officially, but little ports that air could come out. Oh, they were terrible. Yeah, and I thought, oh man, I could make some. I could make some really cool customs if I can get this figured out. And so, yeah, that was all Fimo clay with a wire.
Man,
there's a wire armature in there. Yeah, that stuff was magic.
I mentioned my brother. You guys are the same age. I remember him talking about Fimo and working on little cool things like that.
Yeah, what people don't know is you don't have to just bake it. You can boil it. It'll cure through boiling, and so you don't have to. You could have something that's attached to a figure and cure it like armor. Like if you actually want to make molded armor on a skeleton body, you could just stick it onto the character, put it in a sandwich bag, and boil it, and it'll cure onto the figure without. Because normally you'd have to bake it, and you can't put a figure in the oven. You'll melt it.
And you just had, I'm assuming, a wire. There's got to be an armature in that.
Yeah,
right?
there's armature.
Yeah, it's like,
yes, sir.
That thing's falling apart.
Yes,
love it, love it, love it. And then we get to some of your early stuff too, and I love kind of taking existing parts, building off of ideas that are clearly baked into the Mythic Legions line, or boiled
blood armor.
If you want to go
Vorgus. Yeah, it's like a yep.
Yeah. And this was great. This was a great show to take, and already from the get, kind of like building on the story with your own ideas. I love that you're like, this is, Vorgus wasn't the only one.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's really cool. And again, I know it's real early on, and you're building ideas that had to have been rumbling around your brain that kind of lead to where you're at now.
For sure.
This was great custom. So like pretty early on, it was swapping, painting, but as we saw earlier, you're already thinking about like, what else can I add to this, right?
Yeah,
the clay and stuff. That's really cool. Pretty early on. And then there's a reason why I wanted to show all this, because you do this custom thing, and you're like, oh, well, I want to create packaging, and this is some of my favorite design stuff, dude. Where it's like, yeah, we can do, nowadays, of course, we can get a fairly nice little like mock-up or whatever, but like a proof of concept, hand drawn kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is great, man. This is like some of my earliest like mixtapes or demos where you're like, nah, we don't got time on the computer. Let's draw the thing and cut it out. This is cool. I love it. For sure. And it's just like, necessity, right? It's like, I'm working with what I got, and I'm making something cool.
And it goes back to trying to imitate, right? Try to make something that looks produced. Like, it's a kind of like a validation piece that maybe it gets you closer to feel like you've made it as a toy maker, to have like packaging.
100%.
Hey, what's up, man?
Steph is saying, what's up, TJC? Steph is saying, we proudly have one of the first OG Burke Customs in their collection. It's special.
Nice.
Do you happen to know which one that is? Or Steph, could you tell us which it is? I know it's so long, but let us know what it is. We're curious. And see, you're dropping science right now. People are like, oh, we're learning about Fimo. But it not only does it got to start, it's got to start somewhere, like this hand-drawn thing. But man, I really do love this stuff, like the early concept stuff, sketches. You're sitting around, like whatever, you've got an idea and you've got to pitch something. You're like, what about this? And you're just throwing things together. It really kind of just, I don't know, really captures that stuff. I love it.
Yeah, totally.
So this was cool. And again, you were thinking like packaging already, thinking about like, identity. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Because it lands here.
Soon before my logo. Yeah. I think that packaging definitely would have had the V castle on it. But yeah, this is when it all started coming together.
I love it. And to be clear, folks, this is not DAI. We're talking Adobe Illustrator, one of my favorite pieces of my favorite tools, man.
Yes. Yep. Not AI.
Fell in love with vectors, but
very
vectors. Cool.
Yeah, vectors are so cool because it was so scalable, right? You could go you can go the size of a building with vector, and I did some graphic design. I don't know if you've heard of the beer company Boneyard Beer, but I did the RPM IPA logo for them, and that was
cool.
I was doing much work in Illustrator, and so this is a fun one.
What's up, Erwin?
What's up?
I think one of those IPAs makes it into the thing here while you're sketching. I want to say,
it definitely does.
Do you remember what I'm talking about? This
guy is great.
So,
yes,
I'm no stranger to Lego and a ridiculous amount of Lego minifigs. So this is right up my alley, and I loved when I saw this. It was just like, hey, I've created this blood armor thing, and I love this action figure, Mythic Legions. But to then turn it into a minifig is dope.
Yeah,
I love the paint
Borges.
job on this.
I call him Vorgy. Yeah,
Vorgy.
he was a fun one. He was a real fun one to make.
And this was you kind of just playing with the idea of like, what could I make? What could I contribute to the community, sell, you know?
And this was pre 3D printing also. So the horns that are on that helmet were clay sculpted out of Fimo clay, of course.
Awesome.
And so just did the similar color palette as the other blood armor, just in a, you know, minifig size. I still have that. I saw one of those in my cabinet behind me.
That's cool. Are you a big Lego guy or?
I love Legos.
Yeah.
But I don't have room to collect. I have the C-3PO and then the R2 that came out fairly recently. My daughter and I built those. I have a huge soft spot for them. One day I would love to collect as much Legos as I could, but I just don't have the room for it.
It's room, it's money. I had to stop once, you know, and kind of went back to this scale of figures. But it's very much a designer's toy. It's so wonderful. Like it's food for the imagination. Like I see this, and yes, maybe to some people they're just sort of seeing it's a cute little toy, but like I see it translates in my brain. Like this.
How do you mount your ships back there? I love your display. Every time I see your show, I'm like, this is such a cool backdrop.
These guitar stands.
Oh, right, the hooks.
Yes,
got it.
The ones that are wider, these are like for gardening tools, like they have Lexies.
That's clever. Yeah. That's great.
And you know, are you familiar with the practice of knolling with a K? It's this notion, this like you lay out parts, like old school like models, or they'd lay it, or I don't know, it's just the idea of like laying everything out, almost looking like a sprue with all the parts on it.
Oh yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird thing, and there's whole websites of people just knolling all sorts of stuff.
I'm gonna look at that.
That's what I was kind of like. Oh, I love the silhouettes of these things. I love Star Wars. Like you said it earlier. I kind of glossed over it, but 2 lines, circle, spaceship was like universal, and everybody could draw it, and you could build that. Like
that's the beauty of that. It's like logos, right? If you lower that barrier of people replicating it, then that's a great idea.
Yep. But these were great. And I also just love, you know, I was big into the whole custom minifig thing. That was a thing I was doing for a while. And this whole setup, how do I translate the packaging, the little logo? These are super cool. How many did you end up making of these before we move? How many? I'm curious.
Just one. I had parts for other characters, but I somehow shifted into, I think I started getting into 3D printing. Like I picked up some software and started playing, and that had to take a back seat.
Yeah, I get it, because then you moved over to this stuff. You're like, Mythic Legions is awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody the Legions fans were getting into the game of just like, how can we add to this? How can we extend this killer palette they've already created for us? And so this is that orc,
that Verto. Orc. It's a vampire orc. Yeah, that was my very first of 3 characters that I brought in initially.
Look at that.
And at the time, you know, there were only a handful of studios or people that were doing 3D parts. You know, you had Burke Creating Customs, right? That was fairly new. You had Planetary Dog Toys with Seba, right? You had some, you know, not a big group of 3D producers, you know, at the time. And so I really had to try to differentiate myself by adding like the blue tack, you know, to every head, or having a bifold card with a message on the back thanking everyone, and, you know, having the logo on there, which people weren't doing at the time. You know, some of the parts I was ordering from other companies, not the ones I mentioned necessarily, but they would be shipped to me in Ziploc baggies, right? And just packaged. I'm like, oh, it could be better. It could be so much better. Like packaging could be so much better in the space. And I don't know, I've heard from people that maybe that was what brought the attraction towards my line, because some people were saying, oh, you're the Apple of, you know, of this custom space, because your packaging and logoing is there. You got, and I appreciate those comments, because I hope people saw that, you know, I hope they recognize those kind of things.
No, 100%. And Josh Brown, I haven't forgotten, we're still talking, but yes, this idea right here, I think, is awesome. It's that magic trick. Like you said, there's something, it kind of, elevates, seems a little snooty, but it just like, it's like, oh, cool. And it's now like, we know that's the Von Burke logo, and that's a thing. And it kind of takes it into this whole other, the world of just like, it's a cool ass product. Thanks. But like before, I can't separate the packaging and the thing. Like they go hand in hand, and I appreciate that. Seeing when people do that. I think it's really cool.
And it's big. It's big in the Safubi, community too. It's like, you have the title cards are such a big deal, and so I was combining a lot of those ideas of, how can you have a bigger impact,
Yep. I love the apple of because there's a couple of companies' design language and marketing things that have really always stood out to me. And this is killer. So this was that ogre scale version of that head.
That was a fun one.
Beautiful. I love the bleed from the what is the Cyclops name? Begins with an A.
Archimedes.
Archimedes.
No.
Yeah. But just the way that you kind of blend from that into the vampire piece. It was like, this was pre-Vorg too, wasn't it? Is this post the Vorg?
Maybe.
Because it I think it was pre, because the Vorg came with Necronom. No, it didn't. Sorry. It came. It was with Alithia. Yeah. But it's just, it reminded like the nose and everything, very bat-like. So it's almost like this thing is coming out of an orc or something, and it looks really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a great sculpt. And this was your sculpt, right?
Yes.
So at the time, your first 3 sculpts, that was you. And as we get through, so you mentioned some of them, and we'll get to the first 3, but these were like, and folks clearly took to them. So this was Cat Hager or Cat Hager? Taking your work and taking the whole other direction. I think it's so cool.
Yeah. And I think expression was a really important, part for me on this character. Was I really needed that, really aggro orc, vampire. Like, what if you had that thing that existed in Mythos, right? Where this thing, the ogre scale characters are bad enough, but what if it was turned into like a vampire, and that thing was coming at you? Well, he had to be like really freaky looking, right? He had to be expressive. So that's why I did it with his like crazy raised brow line, and then the gaping mouth. And he was. Yeah. And so I think people really dramatic, had fun.
Super exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And what that does too is I think it opens up the creativity of people who wanted to paint it, right? Like they wanted to paint it because they wanted to create that expression through their paint. And so that was like a huge win for that character, was it inspired people to get crazy with it. Like this, I mean, the face paint on that is freaking cool. I mean, I love the way that looks,
Oh, it's really great. And it's cool to see what people end up doing with your work after you kind of like sculpt and put it out there. This thing was really cool too. This was the what did you call it? Ravon? Vaughn.
Like Raven. But
yep,
Ravon.
Like a Raven, but with the Vaughn treatment. Very cool.
Yeah.
Super gothic, super haunty, love it. There's a lot of real bird skulls, just fun.
It works. Totally.
Weird. There's an alienness to it and a creepiness, but
familiar, familiar, which is important. And that's one thing I think is really interesting in monster design is the closer you can make it a familiar thing, the scarier it is. The more out there it becomes, the less you're more desensitized to the character. So that's why some of those psychological thriller, like Exorcist, that's like, here's a human being that just gets turned. You're like, this is bad. This is scary. When you see things, it's really relatable. And I think the Ravon skull was like, kind of had that. There you go.
Got any leftovers?
Yes.
Might wanna...
Love it.
I'm sure. Dave, really, have you not got? I imagine that you would have some.
Me too. I'll tell you what, though, that design might. Here's something I haven't told anyone. I don't even know if I should say it, but I'll say it. Okay, so that design might actually make it into ASHEN OATH as a potential helmet design for someone, and that's all I'm going to say. But it makes sense. This piece makes sense in my Bible, my character Bible, of that the aesthetic of that thing is can work, and I really want it to work. So you might see it in a different form. That's all I'm going to say.
That's cool. Yeah, no,
you heard
that's
it
really
first.
great.
You heard it first.
I love it. Thank you. But just in general, like I think it's exciting for us because, yeah, I mean, you obviously were working through your own ideas for stuff real early on, and so of course, like if it makes sense, you were already kind of building the bones of ASHEN OATH were there. They started a long time ago. So
they did.
This is beautiful. Eric LeBron custom with your sculpt. So cool. I love how he chose to
Eric's right next to me at Legion's Con this year. Right next to me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
Man, you West Coasters, I'm jealous, but that's all right. I'll be there in spirit. This thing, Death Knight, clearly again, one of these early ideas that is gonna has some influence on some of what's happening with ASHEN OATH in a big way.
That's the
really
first Mortem Knight concept. Was a lot of people were confused. They weren't sure if that was a helmet or if it was a demon head. But the new version of that helmet is more clearly defined as a helmet. So but yeah, that's the first Mortem character. Oh, this is interesting. We were just talking about this on another show. When you see the images of Mortem resonant and whatever the armor, the belt piece is the lower jaw of a skull.
Oh, right here.
Well, this was my original, very original. Yeah, this was one of my very original custom characters, and that's all clay sculpted, that chest, and it's articulated. So the mouth, teeth come together when you open, it like arches back and crunch them.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you did mention that, and that's right. This is that first figure, huh? So this was a fully sculpted clay torso, upper and
it was actually it was that technique I was telling you about of doing Fimo clay directly onto the character and then boiling water in a bag and having it fuse. It fused and cured to the character, and so I was able to not try to calculate the gaps, because there were no gaps when it's directly on the character. And so this was the first rendition of the Mortem Knight, and the story was going to be that here's the funny thing. This is my first one of my first communications with CB, from Four Horsemen, was I had made an announcement of this character, and this was the Necronominous Bodyguard back then. That's the name of it. And so I had posted the character and said, this is what it's called. Well,
that's awesome.
I had a conversation with CB, about just the naming of it. And, he said, we may or may not be releasing that in the future, and look at, years later, it came to be. But it was a really cool experience here's what's really interesting. For him to have a conversation with me about the name felt validating that I was on the radar. It sounds really weird, but if you it's almost like getting a cease and desist from Disney or whoever it might be and say, hey, it's really close. You're like, wow. I mean, I was on their radar. Like, how did you see that?
Yeah.
And so it's almost like this really weird twisted badge of honor that I had a conversation about Necronominous, bodyguard. And, the story was really cool because in Mythos there's this battlefield, right? And he just appears, like the bodyguard appears and lays waste and then disappears. But everyone talks about like, oh my God, is Necronominous coming back? Is it coming? And so it was this whole thing. It was really neat. But that's what sparked the whole Mortem idea, was having something that was like that. Characters that were hunting something of a greater power. You can, you'll learn more about it in ASHEN OATH. But he's in my cabinet. He's in my cabinet behind me. That's probably my very first full like customized body, but he's a keeper for sure.
Love that. Yeah, folks are loving the Death Knight. Larry's into it, Blake's into it. It's cool. It's a really cool idea. It's like, I love the idea of telling a story using the figure, right? Whether it's the helmet design or the torso design, there was little opportunities to kind of like build in a world, right?
Yes,
that
100%.
And I know that the Horsemen do that all the time.
Yes,
I mean, one of my favorite memories from intern last year was Cameron just telling us stories using his paint. He showed us like 4 of the same sword painted different ways.
Yeah,
and how the story is told through that. And I'm just like,
I love Cameron. He's such a cool dude. He's been instrumental, like just different things. Like, here's the color wheel, here's the Pantone books you need to look at, here's these kind of things. It's like he's brilliant. Here's the magnifiers that that you can get on eBay or on Amazon for this price. He's really great at
love it,
educating, and you can tell he's just into educating, and I love that.
And sharing. It's great.
Yeah, totally.
So this was that first year, man, and it was a pretty good year. You had the couple of sculpts, and then there was more on its way. This is like a little bit later, and you can see some of the other things that came through. But what I really love is this, which I think is, because you're gonna have to get to you're doing the whole thing, like you said, DIY. So you've been practicing with, like, there's the design, the packaging, the product development, and the distribution and fulfillment. And
exactly,
obviously you're gonna explore it in different ways and working with other people, but it's kind of neat to see this era of the last 5 years as sort of this build up and practice.
And all those stages are really important to this moment now, with ASHEN OATH. It's like, I want people to trust me, that I don't miss shipments. I promise, I fulfill what I promise. I have a subscription, I have VonBox. It's a subscription box service that Emil and I do. We've been doing it for the past 4 years. And so it's one of those things where we've been doing it, we keep doing it, and it doesn't falter. There's nothing that stops it. And, I want people to
good on
have
you,
trust,
man.
have trust in the brand itself. And that goes, it just goes way back.
That's smart. Like, and you've developed that reputation and people know you. Not like me, as some of the folks on this chat right now who know are like, wait, where's that prize that I won on that? Dave, I remember guiltily. I'll get it to you. And he's not the only one. But while we're there, Hedgehog would just love to put it in there, back of your brain, and maybe an Ashen Hedgehog. So
a little tribute to you.
Man, so that was that first year, and then you just kept going with more parts. And I'll just kind of like go through these, but I love there has been this horror element throughout. So this was a hunter, right? A werewolf hunter, which also seems to be working its way into the whole
Eventide, the good,
I was gonna say good guys, but
they're not good guys, but they're
less dark guys, maybe. I don't know.
But tainted moral compass, but still somewhat north. I mean, I don't know.
Which is super fascinating and
it is,
and fun, very different.
It's very fun. It's
but these are cool, and we'll get to ASHEN OATH. But I just want to point out, like, all the cool things that you've done with, like,
thanks, I appreciate that.
The accessory stuff, man. It's like, so you've really been thinking about the figures and customizing. Then you're like, oh, what about display? And really just thinking about the entire world, man. I love it. I love it. So all cool. I'm sure some of this stuff can probably, like, work its way eventually into something. Like you said, it's all fodder and all,
it's a lot of characters that have been developed in different ways, and that could come back, or some exist in the world of the universe of ASHEN OATH, and some don't. But we'll see where it all plays in.
Just some of the sculpts through the years, really cool stuff. And then I think this is even before the subscription, right? Before the VonBox.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And then at what point did you start sort of collabing with folks, like with Emil? I don't know if you work with others as well. When did that sort of work its way into the studios?
Yeah, again, that was another part of it where I Emil was doing some crazy sculpts, like his demon sculpts, and it was just right up my alley as far as thought. And I love the guy, so he's just he'd be, at the time, I'm thinking he'd just be a really fun guy to work with. And I thought, I love surprises. My daughter at the time was really big into the mystery box, like the blind bags and blind box, and I just loved the whole idea. But then, over time, or not over time, I guess at the early beginnings, I had this concept for VonBox, and I just reached out to Emil and said, hey, what do you think about this idea of doing, one theme, and then we sculpt to that theme, and have seasons of like 3-month seasons, and we don't see each other's sculpts until the very end. And at the end, the VonBox user or subscriber gets this mystery that is just an idea between Emil and I, for one, like I said, one theme. And what was really cool about it is it really forced us to be creative every month, to create something new every month. And so it's a really good discipline to have, to not only create, but create because you need to create it. Like, there's a timeline, like you need to have this done by this certain time to deliver, and so having that urgency as a product and a commitment is a really good training tool. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, it's been fun. It's what the biggest challenge is coming up with the seasonal names. What is the season and what's the breakdown within the season each month, So it's been a lot of fun though.
I love that, man. And so here's the again, working on the packaging, the like little money doll style thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're there, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. No, this is cool stuff. This is fun. This is super fun as well. And I love that like you said, throwing in the tack, the blue tack at the time, kind of playing with the the whole like game. Like, okay, how do we create different things? This comes into play later when you're like offering much later stuff like this. Yeah. But I assume this is all like, this is the beginning of, you're basically R&Ding, even though you're doing custom stuff, right? You're figuring out how toys work and stuff, and just coming up with new ideas. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is really cool. I love that.
How can I imitate certain things, to be more like a production piece? Yeah. Yep.
Did you at any point, like, so around this time, I think it's probably 2021, like at what point did the idea of eventually doing your own line start to creep in?
I would say from the get-go, from the beginning. Okay. I would say, from, oh my gosh. I mean, I'd say way early, just seeing a toy and say, I would like to do that someday. I would love to have something or to make something like this for myself. Can I create this weird creature character to have on my desktop? It just kind of, it was just one of those things. And I think it takes a lot of time to feel like you're in that right space to do it. Like, do I have enough connections? Do I have enough trust in the community? Are my skills of doing articulation or, I've been doing articulation for quite some time. I just don't show it because it's been so hit and miss, right? I have a lot of fidget, like a lot of fidget double jointed elbows around that I just kind of squeak around and play with and, stuff like that. But it goes pretty far back. And it's that classic story of creating something that you enjoy yourself, that you want to have, and hopefully other people will like it. And so it's been a process to get there. But it's just flowing naturally. I feel like
I love it.
Yeah,
no, you see it too. So then we get to eventually these guys, which do figure in pretty heavily into ASHEN OATH, again, from what I can tell, from what I'm piecing together. But these were the Eventide. These were the Slayers, right?
Yeah.
You had the male one. You had a female. I don't think these even were removable. Or were these removable masks at the time?
No, they weren't. They were one
they
piece.
Were sculpted in. Yeah.
And then you four initial characters. Yeah.
Yep. All really cool. And then from there, again with the marketing thing, dude, let's do the poster. Like, this is
the poster.
To some of us, this is just as important as the toys, man. Give me the checklist and just the there's a lot of nostalgia to this, and all the different logos and showing us the different seasons. Cool stuff.
Yeah. And a lot of it's testing, you just test stuff. If it resonates, it does. If it doesn't, then, it was a really good, valuable test to see, what was interesting for people. And so, doing the poster, it's some work to do, but it's really valuable just because you just gather a lot of data of what people really like or don't like. So,
yeah. People are mad. John, I'm mad at myself for not getting the rest of the Eventide before they were retired. The good news is they'll be coming in some form soon.
I pulled the characters really, really quickly offline, the Mortem and the Eventide.
Oh, you did?
Once I knew I was going to do the line, I didn't make any announcement. I didn't say, buy as many as you can now because I'm pulling them. I just pulled them. It says due to, what I had something creative to say, but I want to kind of create this mystique. I want to give a hint out there without telling people fully that they're going to be a produced character. And so
you can again see some of those ideas being worked on. Shout out to the freaking monstrous R5 unit. That's killer. So that's been a thing too. I know some of the Star Wars stuff has been an influence. Like, you take these fun, creative, like side trips, which, like, I think there was the Yeah, there was the Sith Lord. Let's see, this guy. That was always fun because again, per your history, like you were there in '77.
Yeah.
And I love your May the 4th stuff this year as well. Like you'll do a special release because Star Wars is part of the DNA, man. It's helped kick it all off.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun sculpt too. It's just a nice mashup between three things. A skull, you got Darth Maul and Darth Vader, of course. And so that was a really fun one. That was well received too. People really liked that one.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yep. And that was my custom for Legions Con last year, supporting that head sculpt. And then I did the chest piece too. The chest piece was a custom piece as well.
Oh, it's beautiful. And again, I love when folks will do the tributes. Obviously, Emil does like fantastic tributes.
My gosh.
I also love the creating of stuff like this. I just love people playing in the world and using the vocabulary, but creating something different.
Yes, for sure. And cool again, it kind of goes back to what's familiar. You recognize something, you say, "Oh, I recognize that from somewhere," and then when it clicks, you're like, "Oh, that's what it is," And so, I love those aha moments when you design something that is just right on that verge. I mean, this is pretty much, in your face. You know exactly what it is, but when you can kind of be less obvious, it's neat when people recognize it.
Yeah, and it again on its own. Obviously, like some of the things are Lucasfilm-esque, the shape of the mask or whatever, but on its own, it's just a cool looking.
Did you see the light whip? The picture of the light whip, his light up lightsaber. Oh, it should be in there. It should be one of the.
I pulled these ahead, so I don't want to.
Oh yeah. So his weapon was a light whip, and what I did was I found filament. Filament LED strips that go in bulbs. You can get them, and they're flexible. And so what I did is I created a wire armature from the saber handle, came out in a curve, and then I used hot glue, and I hot glued the filament across this armature, and I kept on doing layers and layers and pulling it so it looked like it was chaotic, like it was all crackly. So when you lit it up red, it lit up since the glue was kind of frosted color. When you lit it up, it looked like a lightsaber. And it bent around him, so it was like he was whipping it. So it had this curve that went all the way around him. Oh, the thing was so sweet. And then I used these really low gauge wires that hid like behind his cloak.
I was going to say, how did you light it up?
Then? And then these wires just went down through the handle of the lightsaber, down his arm, behind the cape, and out back the diorama in a 2-pack like AA batteries. And that thing was just bright. It was so cool.
How fun is that? Again, like a little kind of diversion to make a thing, figure out how to do it.
Yeah,
love that.
That about broke me. That custom took so long to make, but it was worth it. It sold pretty quick. I had it for sale at Legions Con. It went right away.
I'll put it in the links because I need to see it and I want to share it. But let's talk real quick. Just take a look. Here's that IPA. I think that you helped probably.
Yeah. That was a napkin sketch of the beer label I did before, and it over here in the Pacific Northwest. IPA and Boneyard made a big name in Bend, Oregon, because it's kind of like the mecca for craft beers. And so sometimes I can stroll into a bar if they have a tap handle with RPM. I draw a little napkin sketch and I get free beer. So it's kind of fun how that might work out. I'm hustling. I'm like that street hustler, right? And like painting pictures on the street.
We'll draw for beer.
We'll draw for beer.
So that eventually became the beginning of an idea that got designed.
No, that was already produced. So they were already in production.
You drew the label. Got it.
Yeah, these are afterwards, just having fun.
I love it. But I just wanted also just to sort of see like, okay, there's the art, there's the 2D piece. We've been looking at a lot of your 3D work.
Yeah.
This stuff, man, being able to find ways to like plus your offerings is great. I showed this on the show before just because, man, I love it. I love the art and the visual and the product itself. That's, again, I love the Star Wars Kenner card art and boxes as much as I loved the toys.
Yeah. So. And these, with those special monthly head sculpts, I doing this little art piece kind of felt more like kind of a craft product, like something you'd see like an Etsy product, that's kind of hand. So all the paint you see there, like the red eyes or the green, that's all hand painted. So anytime anyone ordered one of those heads, they would get one of these portraits that were hand touched, and then I signed each one myself. They weren't printed. So I wanted people to have something that felt like it came from my hand, like literally, like I literally would paint something. So that's what really inspired those portraits. Those are fun.
I love that personal touch. Obviously, it's going to shift a little, right, when you're doing the production figs, but it's still going to have that Von Burke love.
Yeah.
100%. All right, then all of this comes to this.
Yes.
Sorry, you know, I'm a context guy. I love everybody's stuff. I love the creativity that gets poured into it. But then you started teasing this about like over a month ago, right? This was, hey, check out some of this armor. And I believe, I don't know if I missed it, but this was like the first mention of this, or were you talking about it on the Cabal first, letting people know, or?
Yes, this is
that you were actually going to do an action figure line.
This is one of my first, like, I'll tell you, it's really complicated knowing when to announce something, right? When to pull back that curtain. And so it's scary, you know, it's really committal, you know, and it's a very scary thing. And so this is one of the early peeks at what I was working on. And, you know, I wanted people to just kind of speculate and see, you know, they're like, oh, that's why the heads were pulled off the website. I just want to kind of tell a story, like people are starting kind of doing this, you know, this forensic kind of work and say, oh, okay. They're like, I get it. Now I see why those were pulled. And then, you know, I just love those, like I said, those unexpected moments of, you know, things.
And it kind of helps create the story and all of that stuff from a marketing perspective. But
it really
what's fun is you also figure out who's reading and who's not, who's just like, oh, wow, that's a cool new thing he's designing. But it's just that little mention in there. I love it. So this is how much do you think it's changed from these kind of earlier designs? So these are the eventide armor.
Yes. And we'll see.
How interesting is it to see these early stuff?
It's cool. Yeah. I feel I love it. I love what you're seeing here in the video clip. Some of the other armor pieces, like the chest pieces and the pauldron, I don't know if they're Von Burke-ish enough. Like, I don't know if they're edgy enough for what I want to do quite yet. So I'm holding off on that. And that's why I'm only going to have 3 of the 5 characters at Legion's Con. I'm just showing them right now because I put a lot of time. Don't get me wrong. I put a lot of time into them, but you know what I'm saying? It has to be right.
No, I get it.
Right.
Or
something's not there. Just something's not. I'm not sure what it is, but it's just, there's something not there. This is great. This piece is great. But there's something about, I think, the chest armor that I'm not, and maybe the thigh cuts or the thigh armor, I'm not super stoked about right now. So
I get that.
I'm gonna rework them.
That's cool. Yeah. And then there's also this stuff that you teased. It's always neat to just sort of see the early process. This was the mask. And again,
the mask is great. That's staying. That is going to stay. That's been a really fun, the mockery. So the Eventide, what's funny about them is that they're so like rude about what they do. They just mock everything. They mock vampires. They do, you know, all their iconography is very dark against, you know, monsters. And so they're wearing this mask like, yeah. They're like, you think you're scary? Well, we're scary. Here's, look at our mat, you know. And so
I like that.
That's kind of the deal. They all wear the same mask, and they're fun. But like I said, the Eventide moral compass is a little off. They go after elite monsters and creatures, but they won't rescue a village from bandits. They'll just walk by and say, it's like Jedi, right? It's like you will never see a Jedi handling a situation that's very low level. You rarely ever see them. They're like gods, right? And so it's like, well, why can't they help everyone? Why can't you just, you know, well, they can't, you know. But and so I think that, you know, with the Eventide, their compass is like, we need to go after these things. And then when they meet Mortem, it's like, whoa, okay, these are tough. Like we don't even know how to handle the situation, you know. So it's a very tough conflict between them.
So you've got your 2 factions, but you've also thrown in there that there are these other things that they're hunting. So the possibilities down the line of creatures and, you know, things that could come are great. But also we've got plenty of great people making, you know, amazing creatures as well that you can pose on the shelf that they're hunting and slaying. So
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So what are they using to slay? It looks like tools like this stuff. And again, we see some of the Ravon stuff, I think,
very similar,
kind of peeking in here a little bit. Yeah.
And that's going to be the Mortem Resonant character, which will be the figure I'll show, the painted version today. But that is the first kind of block out of its sword. So yeah,
very cool. Yeah, it looks so cool in that metallic finish.
I have that painted.
Yeah, let's show what you've got here, and then I want to definitely see it because he has finished. He's been hard at work, and he's finished some stuff and wants to share some paint masters, which is amazing, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
let's tease this thing. So this is going to be for the choir, the Obsidian Choir Sword. Again, some of that. You said the resonant and the choir and all that stuff.
And the character is called, that's the choir morn. So he's the elite version of the resonant. So they are more of the, I guess, Jedi, for lack of a better term, right? They are like, or the Sith, like they're like the Sith lords of the Mortem. So that's their weapon. And that's,
I love that.
I don't know, you've probably seen this. Hold on a sec.
What's that?
You probably know about this.
Oh yeah, yep. There's a 1-to-1, beautiful little project of yours there. That's gonna be making it to Jersey, yeah, where people can see her. Let me get you there.
Yeah.
So you're sculpting them small, and you're making a nice. Oh, what happened? it's slow.
It's all good. Did you see it?
I did. It's got a mind of its own now. But yes, so you're going to be bringing that with you.
Yes.
And people can kind of take a look at it, get into the world a little. I love that, man. It's so fun.
You know, I think that helps makes it that next level of immersion, right? When you kind of see something, it's like cosplaying, right? It's like that next level of seeing how it would be, you know, in the real space. So yeah.
Have folks take pictures, do the whole thing. Go take it over to the Spiro booth and see if you can do like a battle, because they'll have the big hammer. They'll have Thane's hammer.
Yes, there you go.
There you go. That's the piece that you're working on. That's really cool, man. How fun is it to make this little world and then be like, okay, what would this be like in real life?
When I first got that piece, I was like, oh boy, it really felt like something. I mean, it feels like something anyways, but holding stuff like that, I was like, wow, this is really, really cool.
It's really cool, man. I love the idea. I love that you thought to do that and that you're going to bring that there with your stuff. Yeah. Two Houses loving it. That's already so fire.
Thank you.
And I'm definitely seeing the questions that folks are putting in. Definitely put them in. We'll get to them at the end. But let's take a look at the figures. I've shared some of this before here on the news, but again, the presentation of this when you got here, I was like, man,
cool.
And in my mind, again, it was just like if it was this with like blacks and grays, that alone, and there were some comments earlier that like those would actually be pretty cool variants to get as well, because it looks striking. Like it looks really, really cool as
awesome. And the prototype, the paintmaster I'll show you, it looks really similar to that. I really wanted to capture that essence of black metal, right? Black metal with that grim, dark fantasy color palette. You know, it has washes and high, you know, dry brushing and, you know, things of that nature. Really wanted that to come through with this line. And so whenever we're ready to show some, we can do. Or you want to do now?
Yeah, let's do. Let's go ahead. This was the weapon, but yes, since we were on this character,
let me show the weapon. I'll show the weapon as a teaser. So this is
look at this painted stuff. Oh wow. It's kind of got a bluish steel. Wow, look at the paints on that.
And then look at the center piece of the there's texture in there. It's kind of like hammered steel. That you can see. And then
it's got like a patina on the handle too.
It's more like just steel, like steel brushing.
Okay.
But if you look at the pommel, there's a skull on the pommel of the sword too.
Oh, so small. Wow.
Yeah.
And so this is that character's got it.
Yes, this is like the builder, the army builder of the Mortem. So they're called the Mortem Resonant. So this is their sword that will come with him.
That's gorgeous.
And I guess this is the first time debuting the Paintmaster.
Let's look at the figure. Oh, yeah. Okay.
The joints aren't painted. Those will get painted a little bit later. But this is the color palette. You're going to see, you know, like I said, the brushed steel, Let me come over here.
That's beautiful. It looks, legit, like black steel. The highlights are,
and it's got an
articulated
jaw, so the jaw will open and close. It's a little tight right now, but you can kind of see.
Wow. So of that, like we're looking there, do the pauldrons come off? Like, can you give us a sense of what that build will be like?
Yeah. So the articulation is actually on the outside of the deltoid, if you can imagine that. So what I wanted is I wanted full 360-degree rotation. So you can have his arms up above, right, overhead. But also I wanted T-pose. So I wanted the T-pose at the same time, but also I wanted the butterfly joint to come in so you can do a two-handed hold, right? And that gets really complicated with pauldrons always get in the way. I have so many dissected figures. But so Jason, from Sparrow, actually, he said, hey, have you looked at the Major Blood figure for, G.I. Joe? He has an interesting mount, a pauldron mount. And so I picked up that character. I was like, oh, this might actually work. So I can't really show right now because the shoulder will break,
fall apart.
But what will happen is if you look here, it swivels at the outside of the deltoid. So when it's open fully, you can go into a T-pose. And it still maintains the rotation this way. And then you'll have the butterfly that kind of comes inward as well. So
is the connection point where is it sort of connected to? It's to the arm?
Yes.
To the shoulder?
So it's connected. It would be connected to, well, let me go this side. Like right here, there's a peg hole here and a peg hole on the other side. And the material obviously is flexible. So it can just be pulled off and reapplied if you need to. And it'll also flex as the character moves in different poses.
So it's sort of held by friction and a little like divot in the shoulder. Is that what it is?
It's like it's a hole.
Okay.
It's like a hinge, basically, is how it works.
I love that.
Yep. And then you got double elbows. You have the ball joint wrists, so you don't have to worry about vertical hinging or different sets of hands that have that. It's just one set that does it all.
I'm a fan of that on a lot of the imports.
Yes. And then the cloven feet.
Yeah, the toes are great. Yeah, they're fantastic.
And then there's other like skull type pieces on the heel. Here's something interesting that people have picked up on and have seen is if you look at the chainmail, they're all skulls. So instead of linked pieces, they're just many different little skulls. I individually place those skulls to create its own kind of chainmail.
It's funny. I saw you post something like that where you were kind of chaining these things together early on. It was before you announced this line, and like, okay, that makes sense. It comes together. What a cool idea.
So yeah,
man, people are loving what they're seeing.
Awesome.
So yes, J-Mac, holy, man, people are loving it. Solo Sinner, damn, Larry's Geeky World, love the details on the fig. Slacker Hacker, what's up, man? So amazing.
Thanks.
Adam noticed. So is it pins with a question mark?
Pins?
Look like there's some pins on the knees. Are there pins?
Oh, it's going to be. Well, we'll see. I mean, my plan is to go pinless. So they'll be hidden, of course, through their injection magic, work. So hopefully, all pins, if the price is going to be right on something like this, they'll all be hidden. So pinless is the plan. I love having that clean look.
David Salinas has sent amazing work, like Dark Souls.
Big fan of Dark Souls. Yeah, Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Lord of the Rings. You'll start to see some of those things that come into play. It's Justin. That's amazing you say that. Just because of the fact that in the toy making space, you have a lot of people that are handling different parts of the toy before it gets produced. You have a sculptor, you have a project lead, you have a person who is conveying that message. But what I take pride in, which I think is really fun too, is that since I'm the creator, I can design it and I can I can literally make changes on the fly, and when Jeremy was on your show recently, he was talking about the small studio, being agile in a small studio, right? It's nice where I can say, oh, I don't like the angle of that horn. I'm just going to change that. Now, how much would that cost to have the artist change some of the scope work? I mean, that's a lot of time and it's a lot of work to do. Money and time. Yeah. And so what can I do to allocate those funds in a different way? Is it through resourcing and different things? And so if I can take that on myself, but at the same time, maintain the continuity of design and the character.
Right.
So, you know, when Justin says artwork for sure, I want these to be art pieces.
They're totally,
but at the same time, I want them to be really cool toys you could just pick up and play with as well. So
yeah, and that's your background
comment.
again. That's the blend of like,
yes,
you're into the art stuff, you made stuff, and you can kind of take it from idea to the end. You're gonna obviously collaborate with a bunch of folks. Like,
for
don't
sure,
get me wrong.
For sure.
But yes, and the decisions, like if for some reason creatively you're like, that's not right, you make a call. You can pivot. Yeah.
I can literally go from napkin sketch to ZBrush to in my lab to start printing and then painting and then photography all within the same house. And that's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot of money if you source that stuff out. I mean, it's not cheap.
It is. But also you would see the value in it. That's the other piece is like, okay, how important is it to move this horn? And you would decide based on the value and the impact that you want to have, and you can make the call if you wanted to.
And here's the challenge, though. The challenge behind that is feature creep, right? You hear that in software where you create something, and if you have the ability to keep tweaking things, as an artist, nothing's ever done. It's just when you decide to release it, right? And that can be a problem. And one thing Von Box, what?
Special editions. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Still a sore subject, but yeah.
And that's one thing that for Emil and I do in Von Box is that we know we have to let a piece go at a certain time every month. So I've been training myself over the past several years with Von Box, having deadlines to say, no, this needs to be released. And I think good enough is a great term, but I like the next step. I don't like releasing something that's just good enough just to get out to the market. It has to be there. But I do believe there's a moment where you can tinker with that angle of that horn all day long, you know? And so it's like, you have to be careful. Maybe I'm doing that with Eventide. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing that a little bit with them, that it's awesome as it is, but it just feels, I don't know, just, you know.
And it's a tricky one because that's your, pardon the pun, but that's your He-Man, right? That's your, they're meant to be the protagonist and sort of the center of the, psychologically speaking, that's who in theory, your person playing is identifying with potentially, right? So like, I wanted to make them look as badass as makes sense to you and hit the story points too. Cause that's what I keep hearing from you. It's like,
exactly.
When I hear you say things like, well, they're not good guys, they're a little more complex, and things like, oh, they're mocking. You want to convey that in a way that makes sense for you. So I
and exactly.
I get it and I respect it. Yeah. It's great.
Thank you. And we were talking about, moral compass of characters. I have the Eventide aren't even the main characters. Corthanus is actually main. He's the good guy. Like he is the good guy who struggles with wearing cursed armor, basically. And that's actually, we can probably lead into the.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
So this right here is Corthanus of Araveth, and he wears the same armor, different pauldrons, different head sculpt, different sword. And the story behind the reason he has this armor set is he is, if you read the story that I have on my website, you'll understand that there was this stone, the stone radiance that got broken, and people had to flee this area, and Mortem Keen kind of took his part and did his thing. Well, Corthanus actually is an orphan that you'll find out later that is being raised basically in this village. And he has an elder that he's very fond of. It's like a father figure. And things go down where I don't want to give out too much, but things go down where the Mortem come because there's a stone in this town, and they go after him. And in order for him to survive or to even have a chance to even fight in the Mortem, he has to put on their armor. And there's something really cool that happens the way he gets the armor. But he has to wear the armor, and it changes it changes the look of the armor completely, color wise, that takes on what his like moral compass truly is. So it goes from like a black,
oh, that's cool,
goes from like a black metal to almost a white with gold kind of. It's really the paint apps can be really cool for it, but he becomes the ultimate good guy.
I love that.
Plagued, he's plagued by the curse of the armor. And so that's going to be his struggles, trying to find who's leading all these bad guys that just wiped out my entire village. and how do I even have a chance? And then the Eventide come in and are like, okay, who's this guy now who's able to fight the Mortem with ease, but he's got this other armor color? It's like, this is really interesting. And so there's that struggle between them as well. Like
oh man, the story
he's
just
potentially
sucked me in. Yeah,
he's a potential bad guy to the Eventide, and so they're trying to struggle and find out, who this guy is and what his role in chaos is. So it's pretty fun.
That's I love that. I love the you've got the two forces, and there's this new thing that's focusing on one character. Was really kind of fascinating.
Like
cool,
if you had no chance to survive, and you know that there's that armor that's there, and you put it on, you don't realize, it's kind of whispering to you and has this kind of song to it, and then it starts to try to, taint you a little bit when you're wearing it. It's like,
That's really cool, man. And so like people are definitely seeing some of the reference points, or they're connecting stuff. So like Adam earlier had said, highly articulated, saying he's seeing H.R. Giger meets Dune a little, like a Dune still suit maybe, and like, oh, that
I like that.
And then other folks were seeing that as well. But there were a couple of the Paint Masters. So the Paint Masters for that character will be at Legion's Con, is the plan?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah,
so it'll be for that.
It'll be for this character on screen that you saw. Corthanis will have a Paint Master, and then also the Choirmorn character.
I see.
So
not the Eventides. That's right, because you're working on them.
I'm redesigning some of the parts, and we'll see how it goes.
So really, I mean, I see the sort of like, I don't mean to be crass, but the sort of reuse of the armor, of course, because of story reasons.
Absolutely.
For those two first characters, this will be a completely different body. Was there a fourth that I just heard you say that will have sort of different kind of armor and style? Or
there's going to be three. The three that we talked about. We have Corthanis, we have the Mortem Resonant, and then the Choirmorn, who's like a champion version of the army builder, basically. And then the first, so we're gonna be 5 characters, maybe a 6th one in the set. So there'll be 3 of those 3 I mentioned, and then 2 of the Eventide will be Morning, which is his name, and then Curfew will be the other character. So there'll be 2 other ones.
Very
and then
cool.
maybe a bonus.
Morning with a U. Yes.
Yeah, MOU.
Gotcha.
Yep. And then Curfew will be the other one. And all the Eventide, all the naming and essence of the characters are all related to nighttime themes. So it'll be words of like night. So you got Curfew, you have Morning, and then my first, female character will be in the second wave. Her name is Eve, and so she's, Eve, like evening. So they're all going to be tied in somehow with like nighttime vibes.
Love that.
Yeah,
very cool. I love the world you're building, and I gotta say, I understand the idea of wanting to iterate. But if this is your sort of starting point at this moment, and it's in a pretty damn cool place. Like, I'd throw down for a figure of that armor as is, but I totally get it. Your thing. There's nothing not cool or not good about this guy, man.
Thanks, man.
It's really cool.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you got we've sort of seen this. Thank you for showing that Paint Master articulation. I'm excited to see this as you were holding him up, seeing the double joints, that there's a butterfly.
And the torso is important too. Is like, it's really, what's challenging is a lot of things. Actually, it's all challenging, but how do you create articulation without too many gaps? And the number one gap is like waist and upper, the crunches, right? It's like the back. And so engineering ways to create a reasonable flexibility and also maintaining aesthetics was really important to me. So those are barbell joints, pelvis to the torso to the chest, and so you get a nice crunch, arch back, and then and that was the original chainmail, early chainmail of the upper thigh. And then I moved to, I was like, I don't know, that's too expected. Chainmail's too expected. I need to do something different. I need to do something much more complicated by doing individual skulls.
I've always loved when some of these characters in fantasy, and the villains especially, have real great designers, and designing their stuff. They're working their brand real well to like that. It's cool, man. I love this. I love the way it moves. I think these are going to be really great.
Thanks.
Are you gonna, for the folks that are going to Legion's Con, will you be having a bunch of your Von Box studios, like the heads? Like, is there anything unique? What do you bring in?
I should have brought my pieces. I have 5 test prints of completely new helmets for Mythic Legion skeletons. So I've been doing helmets for Mythic Legions for the skeletons for quite some time. And so I have a brand new set of 5 helmets that I'm bringing to Legions Con. And I'm toying with the idea of having them just be exclusive to the show. Where you can only get these during Legions Con, and that's it, they retire. Because I'm really big on this like limited run and just breaking the mold and saying, you know, we're done with these and make it really special. But also I need to be mindful of people that can't attend Legions Con,
right,
and that may not be able to get those pieces. So maybe I'll do a limited run both ways, like bring so many, then have a release online for like a 1-day type sale or something, and then just, you know, call it good. So but I'll be releasing on Instagram here shortly the renders and some pictures of the printed helmets. They're pretty wild. They're a lot of fun.
It's so cool, man. And so it's great to see, again, as you call out here, that, you know, you're taking this from start to finish. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And it's really cool for you to be able to like come up with your own thing and just develop it as an idea and put it out there. So for folks who didn't realize, this will be a Kickstarter, and you're, you know, you're just ramping up. You're letting people know, you're building awareness. When do you have a ballpark that you'd like to share with folks when they might be able to sort of expect this stuff?
Yeah, you know, I communication is key, and you'll be hearing a lot as we're ramping up towards the Kickstarter launch date. But I'm looking at it'll be spring 2026, so we're looking you know, February, March, early April. Depends how things go. You know, I need to get these. I need to get the figures finalized as far as the Eventide goes. To the way it gets a little complicated is factory quotes, right? They need to see all the pieces, exploded views, paint masters. And so once I get that ready to go and I get quotes back from the factory, I'll be able to put together the finer points of the Kickstarter campaign. And what does that look like? I saw there was a question that came up. Someone asked, are we going to see translucent figures?
Yes, I was going to bring up Adam's thoughts with the Kickstarter.
Yes, sir. I want to. I want one of the tiers. Maybe it's a Kickstarter exclusive to have a green colored translucent figure. If you notice, some of my media marketing has some green in it, and so the Stone of Radiance is a green, kind of like a stone, like an emerald stone. There you go. And when the mortem die, quote unquote, it's kind of like a greenish mist. So doing an all green character would be kind of cool to kind of symbolize the defeat, like of a mortem, or maybe the transitional stage. And then I thought for photography, it'd be really cool to have like that one picture I had at arching back, the articulation of him arching back. But what if you put one behind him? Now. What if you layered, like if you had both figures, like there you go. What if you had that one, the painted one, and then you had the green one in front of it laying across him to show like he's being ripped out, like his essence is being pulled out of it. So I thought that would be a cool, for photography's sake, like a combo with the two figures to show the destruction of a mortem, and it'd be that green one. So yeah, that's a very long-winded answer to is there going to be translucent ones?
Yes,
but yes, I want to have one of the Kickstarter tiers, the special one being a green translucent one. That'd be fun. And then I also want to do the test shot style ones where it's just all gray, so you guys can paint it yourself. A lot of texture. There's a lot of texture in it to paint. It's fun to paint.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the sort of mixed translucent. So I don't just throwing out there. I know Adam wants full translucent, which I get. But like, you know, if there were like parts of it underneath armor or something, but or arms or something, just whatever.
That's a great idea.
Just thoughts. I know that's actually a pain in the ass though, depending on tooling, right? Yeah. Because it's all being plugged in. But anyway, maybe in the future.
But not too bad on the tooling, so it'd be just materials, right? You'd just be swapping out materials on it. So it could be maybe the skull and the arms, and like you take the appendages and make them. I like that idea, dude. Okay, I'm gonna think about that.
At the core of it, though, we've got something coming in potentially in spring. There's a lot of great things. This was you actually working on the paint masters, and thank you for sharing them again here earlier. If you missed it, go back later, definitely check it out because it's looking really cool.
Cool. Thank you.
As far as like color, like, you know, as I said before, like Trevor thought, he called us out because I had mentioned like, oh, is this mainly a black and white line or like a grayscale line? And the one you showed us like definitely had, you know, largely on the gray kind of thing. What could we expect if you could just describe like what ways does color work its way into?
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of just the grim dark style of painting where it's you take even the most vibrant colors, you just really bring it down, right? Like reds and orange,
desaturate,
green, just really desaturate down to where it's almost like it's a monochrome kind of almost look, right? There's a hint of the color, but what's really nice is the continuity between characters really work when you take less color, you know, the vibrance. But then what you do is you add vibrance to certain areas that really accentuates pop it. Like, how do I want to draw attention to these different things? Like the Eventide, for example, what I want to do is have a metallic steel armor, you know, typical, regular, but the stitching that's involved kind of has a samurai stitching. I want it to be like red, like a really nice contrasty red color. So whenever there's any kind of ropes or anything like that, you're going to have this really dirty armor with this dirty kind of dulled down rope color, like red rope kind of accents. So you're going to see a lot of that. So think palettes of like, you know, Dark Souls, you know, Elden Ring, those kind of things. Yeah, take inspiration from a lot of those, you know, Giger is another inspiration. Obviously, you can see some of the influence in the silhouettes and the design. So, yeah, really drabby, real drabby. Washes, I like washes and dry brushes and things like that.
The details and the organic shape. That's the other thing is like design, vocabulary, and lang thing. But it sounds like you understand that color can be a very powerful thing when used, you know, sparingly and effectively, and that's going to be fun.
Totally.
It's going to be fun. There's a couple questions before we dig into some other ephemera, but man, you've got some amazing stuff. And thank you again for sharing. There's some questions that folks have. So Justin has quite a bit. Let me go ahead and bring us in a little bit closer. So is this it sort of says, is this a horror fantasy line? And I laughed when I saw this. It'd be cool to actually get the grayscale figures as actual figures. But like, how do you sort of classify your line, I guess?
Yeah, I would say it's dark fantasy, you know, and so I think it operates in a realm that's not. I would like to say that Mythic Legions is conventional fantasy, where it's like recognizable knights and, you know, crusaders and these skeletal, you know, knights. I like taking that to the next level where it becomes more of a darker, like a twisted version of that. They can still operate obviously within the realm. In the way that the mortem kind of transport themselves, move around in the world, could leading into other spaces. What if they hopped into a Marvel universe, or, you know, what if it was like that, where it's like the super hyper character? Because, you know, think about, you know, the alternate universes, whatever, but that's kind of their mode of transportation is through magic and whatever. But I'd say dark fantasy. Not so much horror, I guess. Like not so much those kind of creatures, but horrific situations. But grayscale. That would be fun. I would like to do a tier. I would like to do one of the tiers in Kickstarter as just like I said, for the test shot. So I know it's not quite grayscale, but, you know, shoot it with some black primer, and then do a dry brush on. There you go. You got it. It's ready to go.
Love it. There was something you said, the dark fantasy bit, and bringing in the sort of horrific moments. I think it was John from the Collecting Brothers mentioning Skull Knight from Berserk. Is that a touchstone at all for you aesthetically? Is that something you're familiar with, Berserk?
Oh yeah, big fan of big fan of Berserk for sure.
Okay, I was just wondering, and so is that something that he was calling out for, like the skulls? Is that something? Do you see that influencing your stuff, or
no, not so much?
No.
I think it plays a role in like inspiration. You know, you just in different ways, whether it's colors or, you know, whatever it might be. But yeah, oh my gosh, I get inspiration from so many different sources.
Clearly, and which is like, you can't turn that off. Actually, it gets in and it's there whether you realize it or not.
For sure.
Action Figure Girl wanted to let us know this was the figure. Does that ring a bell? That they got from you, a painted armored skull head with a broken horn.
Oh yes,
they put it on a Broman.
That's a Broman's awesome. Yeah, right.
This is like way in the future, and knowing you and how you sort of envision the future. Any other toy lines planned after this one? Are you trying to create a universe?
Yes and yes. Nice. Yes on both. I with it's interesting. I have with marketing comes, or enjoying marketing comes, reaching out and just asking really dumb questions to high level people sometimes, and I don't know until I ask a question. And so some of the contacts I've made in the music industry and whatever it might be are things I'm building up to later that might evolve into a much greater universe for ASHEN OATH. Could be something music driven. There is an ASHEN OATH soundtrack that's on Spotify, Apple Music, Instagram stories, Facebook stories, that was created by I don't know.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so bass player from AFI. I don't know if you know AFI.
I do.
Or if you know
San Francisco.
Okay. Tiger Army.
I've been known to rock some AFI liner and my
yes, Tiger Army and the band Fear. Well, he was the ex-bass player for them, and we became friends. And he did this little like eerie soundscape track for me that's going to be in the trailer for the ASHEN OATH Kickstarter. So, and you can just look up ASHEN OATH and you'll see Jeff is the creator of it, and you'll it's a really spooky kind of single bass line, kind of with some morning kind of sounds in the background. It's really cool, but it's out there. It's like minutes. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, give me that link. I will definitely put it into the links for people to check out. And again, folks, if you missed, then it'll be scrolling on the bottom.
Yeah, I do want to expand. I do want to expand in the universe. I just want to go a lot of different directions without getting.
I love that, because I heard you say, they could go into other worlds or whatever. It's funny. Jason and I have had this sort of, from Spiro, have had this ongoing conversation. One was a really lengthy one, just spitballing ideas about like, man, because I do this. Like, I've got my figure obscura here next to this World of Warcraft thing and Odious or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's kind of an aesthetic that kind of hovers in this weird science fantasy thing. But the notion of like actually having opportunities for these characters to interact and engage. And I would love to see that. Yeah. Largely, the idea that I was tossing around with Jason and some other creators is just as a way to, Hasbro, G.I. Joe, there's a massive IP, right? Masters of the Universe, etc. But like, I'm always trying to talk about the indie toys because a lot of people don't even realize they exist. And is there a way to create a space where people can just start to see these things come together a little bit more? Because everybody's got limited budgets and time, but is there a way you all can kind of like be together in this thing, whatever it is, But anyway,
and I think Legions Con has really helped with that. It's been like this really cool ground for emerging indie artists, and it all starts as those 3D creators creating things and evolving into other. But yeah, Legions Con has been great for that.
I'm thinking about Legions Con that way as far as a space, but story wise, more of a thing, like a story way of
like a universal universe,
something, or one shots or something. But anyway,
wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be interesting? A collaboration through companies where they created one figure each that operated in its own, in that one universe.
Yep.
Oh, fun.
Or
that's a cool idea.
Con exclusives that have team ups or first days, but use existing stuff, but just ways to reintroduce people to things. Anyways, whatever. That's some ideas. Do you have any animal characters? Or I'm going to throw in animals or creatures. Some of the things that maybe, like, for example, the Slayers are hunting until they find these other guys.
Like werewolf style creatures. I'd
love to. Have you thought? Yeah,
definitely. For sure. Thought of that.
Love it. Are there other, Justin's with me. Are there other indie toy companies you would like to collaborate with? I mean, if you answer however.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there's several out there that I think would be really fun, just like you were saying, how can we create a a universal space or a collaboration for like an exclusive would be super cool. I would love to do something like that. Like here's a head sculpt, or here's a head, produced head piece that goes on with this, or a helmet, or I don't know. That'd be really cool.
Speaking of helmets, Factor Hacker specifically wants to know, can he get some skull rat heads? Those are awesome,
oh my God.
Especially the way they're painted. Damn.
Oh my God.
Beautiful. Are
Ricky,
any of those
Ricky the Rat and all those guys. I should bring some of those. I wasn't planning on it. I was trying to bring all new, but those guys are great. Thanks for bringing that up.
If you've got a couple of random ones, here you go. He knows what's up. If you've got a couple of random ones, I'm sure people will be excited to see them.
Yeah.
If not, get a chance to get them.
Good.
Christopher Bouchard saying, hello, what's up, man? And folks definitely are waiting. We are all waiting. So the spring, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it. Obviously, you are not the only person making awesome toys. We've got a couple of toy makers in here as well, with Adam doing the space zombie stuff, and everyone. Eric Miller's in here, obviously working with the studio, and so I think it's awesome. That's where my brain goes. It's like, how do we like hold all this stuff up and give opportunities for people to see these things as like, I don't know, as all kind of together, because I think this is that moment. And, I don't know. I think Mattel and Hasbro would love it if we only bought G.I. Joe forever and Star Wars forever and Masters of the Universe, which we could.
Yeah.
But how rad would it be to have new things for new people to love and enjoy? So
for sure.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And it's always cool to see, like, you're big in supporting the indie, companies and the up and comers. And it's cool for me I'm still a fan. Of course, with ASHEN OATH, I'm still going to buy other figure lines and the indie stuff. I'm still all a part. So hearing about the new brands or the up and comers, I scour, Kickstarter to see what's new toys are coming out. It's cool to see what's happening out there.
Yeah, for sure. And get the ideas too, right? And just like, how are people doing this? How are people figuring out that pauldron butterfly articulation problem? No, I think it's really great. And as you pointed out,
anyone that's out there, reach out to me, send me a message. And if you have any questions about something that you want to break into, or some, things, tips and tricks of, where I'm at so far, where I'm going, I would love to have conversations about that and help
paying it forward. Because as you mentioned,
oh my God,
other folks you've been talking with, folks. If I just want to say, go if you're at Legions Con, definitely check out booth 25. You can see this. I just realized at first it was bugging me. Like,
nothing bugs me.
I thought it was me.
I don't know how I missed that
on there.
Yeah, I do it all the time. I saw that today. I was like, I screenshotted the volume on it. No,
but these guys look great, and you all are going to get to see the Paint Master that we saw earlier, as well as additional ones that are going to be at Legions Con, November 7th to 9th. Take lots of pictures, share them here. We'll talk about them here.
Yes.
But if you've got a little bit of time, I know we've been running a little long, but are you still good let's take a look at some other things that other people are making.
Let me show something real quick that someone hasn't seen either, since we're on the topic of it. This guy lost his arm in just moving, but this will be that the Choirmorn character that I was talking about. He's got a different pauldron, but check this out. Since I love the helmets, we'll have the helmet that goes. Hopefully I don't break it.
Oh wow, I love a good removable helmet, man.
So there's that Mortem Knight concept, but reimagined a little bit differently for the removable helmet. For this guy.
Yeah, that looks amazing. I love a removable helmet, but that looks really cool.
Yeah, he's got I don't want to.
What are the sort of wing details? I can't quite make them out here, but
like a back,
they are actual.
And then there's skulls on the end of it. So on the ends of theirs, it's kind of like the pommel has little skulls on there.
Yeah, I want that on my car.
There you go. And it's all texture, so it's got metal texture, and so his color scheme will be that similar, the black metal style, but it'll have like gold detail, gold highlights, gold rivets, gold brushing, things like that. So
man, that's cool. So that'll be the pop, right? A lot of dark and then some gold.
Some gold pop.
Austin,
imagine like chaos, like Warhammer 40K chaos kind of colors, you know. I guess that's another color palette direction too. Is like a lot of the artwork and, you know, Warhammer is just, oh my gosh, it's so, the color palettes are just insane. So some influence there.
Good stuff, man. Yeah. So I love it. I can't wait. These definitely fit like in my, you know, my style. Like these will do battle with these folks, and and they're just gonna look great on the shelf, and it's gonna have, based on your paints and what you're drawing on, you know, like that chasen. I don't know if chasen's the right word, but that I always look at for Horsemen stuff. I was like, man, the paints and sculpts on this are just like, and everybody says that. Everyone that I show that's not familiar with it, they're like, wait, what are these? Like,
yeah,
right. These are amazing. Yeah. And so I see it here. I see it in your paint masters. I see the details. We're just, we're spoiled. And on that note, let's do some ephemera. We were talking Giger earlier.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I want to talk about this stuff, man, is because Wonderfest came and went. So Wonderfest, for those who aren't familiar, mostly toy companies from Asia, largely from China, some stuff from Japan and beyond, Singapore. And these are their big showings, and there's a spring, there's a summer, etc. So Wonderfest just happened October 2nd, October 3rd in Shanghai. Companies were in full force. I haven't really fully covered a lot of stuff. I'll be doing sort of like these news breaks thing. Like I had the MTV thing going on, and kind of do a Kurt Loder news breaks where I'll focus on some of this stuff. But you're here. I want to talk about some specific ephemera that I think might be right up your alley. Maybe not. I just get your reaction.
Love it.
So were you paying much attention to the sort of Wonderfest stuff, or is that
some? Yeah, definitely. Not super deep, but these images here, oh my gosh.
Okay, so I actually want to focus on, so this is 52 toys. I want to focus on these guys down here. We were talking Giger.
Yes.
So this xenomorph that is by Yoshi, who is again, like yourself, like an artist who is known for their sculpts, and like people follow him for his sculptural work, and has got very much a defined style. You've also have a sort of defined aesthetic and vision.
Yeah.
Yoshi's the same, with sort of like techno organic stuff. Familiar?
So good. Yeah. So good.
So to then take that, his style, if folks are familiar, and apply it to, of course, the stuff initially concepted, designed by H.R. Giger that had its own life, right? The xenomorph. But this figure that is has been on pre-order and is supposed to be coming soon, I think is amazing. It was an instant pre-order for me. So you're laughing. Familiar?
It's so good.
Okay.
I would just say it's just you know what I love is, in design, you look at a lot of different things, you know, texture and design, obviously, but you also look at silhouette. Like if you're just to turn that into black and white, what does it look like as a silhouette? And it's really important because in design that you create lines, make sure these leading lines that kind of lead in different directions. And this figure, you can tell that they have it down. Like I said, if you just turn that into a silhouette, it's
squint your eyes.
Your eyes. It's beautiful. Yeah. And that says a lot. You know, hip width, all these different things you're going to see right away on the aesthetics of a character. And it's things you can't explain until, if you're an artist. See, look at that, dude. I mean,
I know.
That's a great silhouette. That's incredible.
It reminds me of some of the Alien 3 back in the day of marketing, but just it's its own take on it with the own shape. Like, of course, there's some of the familiar things that we know of the aliens anatomies, but like this blade thing sticking out and
that head shape, and it's all iconic. It's like they captured it. That's
that beautiful. Extra stretched version. Like
how much is that? How much is it?
I think it was close to like 80. See, that's the thing. So thank you for bringing that up. If folks don't know, so it's called the N.E.W.S, but it's an acronym, meaning I don't actually give you functional information. I just sit here and go like, damn, this stuff is cool. But I will actually find it right now. But I have it pre-ordered from Bombas, and there's probably plenty of other places that you can get it. Let's see. It is... I'll find it as we go through.
Cool.
But
that's a nice piece.
It is gorgeous, and it seems like it's going to move well. And at Wonderfest, we saw a bunch of the pieces. This is not Yoshi,
Prometheus.
but it is kind of interesting that 52 Toys is sort of playing in this whole alien space. It's sort of very much like a traditional design, not done by Yoshi, but there was some other stuff on their table that was his stuff, and you can kind of see it here.
Jeez,
I can't wait to sort of see that clear piece there and how it's going to visually what's going on. It's a screen thing. I'm being hacked, but let's see. It's saying this figure is too expensive.
Yeah,
I actually don't
look.
Oh, hold on, something's weird. If I go, I'll be
back.
A
screen capture. I have a screen capture of the that Prometheus character on my phone somewhere because it was just such a beautiful design.
Oh, this is weird. I've never seen this before. I love this. Hold on a second. You're here with me. I don't know if the stream's still going because my thing is wigging out.
I can see it.
Hold on.
I can see it.
Let's see. Yeah, you're seeing it on your end too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to do something. Yeah. If you're alone, don't worry. I'll be back.
I'm here.
No one can hear you scream in the darkness of space. Hold on.
Good one. Good one.
Hold on. Maybe not. Hello. Is this thing on?
I'm here. I see you. Can you hear me?
That was awesome. And sadly, not the first time that we've ever had some weirdness. That was a weak one. I've never seen it glitch out.
That's interesting.
I've been watching too much Tron, I guess. If you're still here, folks, let us know. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going because the stream
is still
going. And yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Awesome.
Yes, and we are back. We are talking with Brian Burke. I'm checking my audio. I've got the right stuff. Okay. What we were saying, we were talking about 52 Toys, man. Yeah. And then the Xenomorph was like, nope, you are not allowed to talk about
secret stuff.
Yeah.
Secret stuff.
But it is wild to think that like we're getting all these great toys, clearly like high-end stuff.
Yeah.
But we're getting IP that, we've been dealing with Alien for however long.
Yeah.
But we're getting new takes on it by like, real artist forward kind of takes. I appreciate that. That's for me. So let's see. Do you mess with a lot of like import stuff as well? Because I noticed you kind of work that into your joints and everything.
Yeah, no, I do. V toys and some of the other stuff. I mean, I try to look at a bunch of different types of characters to see how does it work, or because I love it. I think it's exotic, right? I think some of the work that's being done overseas is really has a really cool exotic.
Sorry
feel.
About that, guys.
It happens, but you can really see the exotic design within these imports, and I like the way it feels just looking at it. So definitely
agreed.
You can tell probably by looking at my work that it's translating that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you name check Star Blazers real quick early on. I was like, okay,
yes. Oh man, look at that.
Yoshi, they had Yoshi work on a Yautja as well as do some Predator. Skip that for a second. And this
dude. Look at the muscle on that. Look at just that stretching, and it looks like it's in motion on its. That's great.
I absolutely thought of you, and in terms of like the detailing and the line work, and I was like, oh, I wonder if he's familiar with Yoshi, and that makes sense.
Sure. Yep.
Cool. And I did have an answer for you, but before everything wigged out, let me see. I'm gonna have to get it again, but I'll find it. But it is one that I have on pre-order, and so if my wife is watching, it was like $10. But the real answer is coming soon. Let's see. Okay, so they've got a couple different things here. I'm gonna keep going. Let's look at some stuff, and I'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Are you familiar at all with Dark Crown? Dark Crown toys? Do these ring a bell at all?
Oh yeah, I've seen these. I have. Yeah, the one on the left. It's not all the same. These are different characters, right?
These are 3 different characters. Yeah. This is the only one that's sort of been pre-ordered for the 112.
Yes. Okay. I almost pre-ordered it, but it was a little bit, out of the range.
A little bit.
Moment. Yeah.
No, this is definitely more than a little bit expensive.
Really cool. It's awesome. A really cool figure. Yes, I love this figure.
Absolutely incredible. And again, one of those things that I'm waiting for. It's supposedly on the water and on its way. It's been, so hopefully we'll be getting it soon.
Nice.
But so these were 1/6 that are like really popular in China, particularly in HK and Hong Kong. And they have awesome 1/6 versions, highly detailed. So there's a whole kind of like established world around them, and they're bringing them into start as 1/6, bringing them into 112.
Yeah, nice.
So these are the 2 that are coming, and I've shown them a lot here. But this is partially why, like I think the idea of like a limited color palette, almost grayscale action figure is not, I'm not crazy in thinking that it's a possibility. But this is the next character, who is kind of like this bird man thing that can also turn into a raven, apparently, like a bird ninja.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I was toying with the idea. It's funny that you show this picture. I was toying with the idea of, I try to stay away from traditional chainmail armor. I thought maybe the Eventide's Under Armour would be wraps, kind of like mummy wraps or something along those lines, because it just looks really cool.
I was gonna say I'm a total sucker for that. The mixing of materials, right?
Yes.
The organic with the steel, I think it's just a cool concept.
For sure.
Looking forward to these.
Those are great.
Jeez, clearly, like yourselves, art forward, have a vision.
Look how that face just pops on that black. Everything's just black. The hair, the neck piece, and then you just have this face. It's like, it's so good.
And then even the details of the wings. Again, it's all black, but if you really sit and look there's some, techno-organic stuff going on there.
That's
like you said, the wraps. Beautiful stuff. Got to save up for it, but like they were sharing some really cool looking stuff and teasing what's next. And, they go full on here. You can kind of see their display.
Yes.
Oh man, it's beautiful stuff.
Yeah. I would have went with I would have done some kind of a white treatment on that wood, like do some like a white or light gray, snowy kind of a vibe to add a little more contrast. But the tree looks really cool. But yeah, those are incredible.
Great stuff. Again, all this stuff coming out of Wonderfest was wild. Let's shift over to some women. I know you mentioned that women will be coming in your line at some point in the future.
Yeah, look at that.
And so I appreciate, like, there's something happening in Asia where they're just like, they know that here in the States, it takes us a while and sometimes never get actual women characters in some of these things.
Yeah.
There were so many women figs coming out from a bunch of different creators. And I'm just like, that's cool. Cause it's really, for me at least, filling a gap. Well, that's brutal. But we do have like some of the Zezre women and stuff. It looks like they're kind of exploring Grecian, Roman type stuff
for sure
with this sort of Viking stuff Folks thought this was like kind of Zezre. Like there is a Zezre one that's very similar to this girl, but this is completely different company. Again, it was, I should share links, my bad. This is Demon Flame, folks, Demon Flame. So I'll throw that in there. But what for your women, so there'll be women hunters, and then you said there was a specific character that you mentioned, Eve. She was, is she one of the Eventide?
Yes. Yeah, she is. So she'll be the first one. That'll be wave 2. And she's really sweet. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, talented. So definitely
toy people here, man, everywhere.
Yeah,
that's cool. And yeah, that becomes a more of a question of like the development, and I'm assuming the tooling and everything, right?
Completely different. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Demon Flame had its women just to make the point. Fury Toys also came with some awesome women, clearly with a more more is more kind of design approach with that hair.
So cool. Yeah,
I think these are 3 women warriors are doing like an Athena. This is meant to be the Athena. There's like a Cleopatra, and I forget what the third was, but I just love that we're getting new body styles too. Like you'll notice across these, we've got all sorts of different size and shape women coming out now. There's a lot of blank bodies that are doing some really cool stuff. So I'm just excited.
That detail is just incredible. And the articulation, like some of the engineering of the joints are really fascinating. It's getting crazy. Like you just look at that elbow joint. It's like, what's going on there? There's hinges in weird spots. It's like, wow. And there's a bicep swivel. It's like, whoa, what's going on?
Bicep swivel. It looks like they're trying to really blend that arm so that you don't get those weird cuts. The knees are, very like storm looking. And then the overlay, right? The armor.
Looks like it slips over
the so that they can kind of build on their existing bodies, which is I just think is super cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more and then let's get out of here. And this is a fun one for me. Part of what I love about this new toy phase that we're in is that we are getting toys sourced from cultures that basically we never got access to here.
Right.
Like you mentioned anime, right? And so that was probably like some of the extent of which we got some access, but as kids, when we were growing up in the 80s, like you kind of had to find those places. And later, as things became more popular here, we got some Dragon Ball stuff. We got some Super Sentai in the form of Power Rangers or whatever. But man, I remember growing up in LA and flipping through channels and then coming across like, Wukong, some dude in like fur, talking to some other dude dressed like a pig, and occasionally they do martial arts. I was like, what is this? I need to know this.
Yeah.
And now that we are like, Wukong obviously has had this awesome resurgence, Figure Obscura.
Big time.
Awesome. Yeah. And then there's Black Myth Wukong, which is one of the largest selling video games now.
Yep. So I need to pick that up. I need to pick up that game. That looks
I'm like you, like we were talking about gaming is a huge commitment. So
it is.
But I look at the stuff. I've been watching walkthroughs and like I like the aesthetic. I think it's kind of up your alley. You've seen it, right? So it's like on the darker, desaturated.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
This stuff. This is N.E.W.S. I have their original Wukong. They're doing Journey of the West stuff, which is a 16th century Chinese novel, work of fiction. Well, I know some folks sort of do actively worship elements of this, but there's a lot of different characters in that, not just Sun Wukong. And so they're doing a lot of that, as well as like sourcing from other historical stuff and some fantasy stuff, some mythological stuff. They're doing another Wukong that is their Wukong was more of like the monk traveling Wukong.
Okay.
And then, we got the Figure Obscura, which was very much the, he has become the Wukong that we know.
Yeah.
Full on armor and everything. So that's what they're doing here. And I think it's really cool. I think love that you can, get him down to his.
Oh, is that the base? That's the base figure with all the armor off? Wow.
Crazy, right?
That's awesome. I love that.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I apologize, folks, for missing the comments. This is where now I'm getting sweaty and geeky on some of this stuff. Chris Tverbershard has a question for you, though, so let's not skip it. Will there be different weapons than the swords that we're seeing?
There'll be specific weapons per character. So the weapons are almost as much of a character as the character itself. And so there'll be lore behind some of the special weapons. But yeah, each character will have their own kind of specialty weapon. So yeah, they'll each have their own, but probably not a variety per character.
Okay. Sun Wukong, love it. I love this whole idea. This is Nezha, who I actually just played with. Oh, here, this action figure. This is not N.E.W. This is Fancy Realm. This has got to be one of my favorite things of the year. So this is the same character, Nezha, who again has just this year, 2025, the sequel to the first animated film is like the highest grossing animated film at this point. I don't know. And so, but these are things that are obviously not known to everyone all in different parts of the world.
Yeah, totally.
So the fact that we get access to figures like this.
How are those arms attached on the back?
It's funny. That's the thing that a lot of folks ask. So there is a separate attachment, and there's a closer part for this. And then there's this that clips in, and each of these arms is articulated. So these move. There's no sort of shoulder articulation, but there's a bicep and then double arms. It's like basically like a regular arm from the bicep swivel.
That's wild.
There's also a cool like triple head, and you can kind of see N.E.W.'s version here because Nezha does appear in Journey to the West, as well as this other novel from the same time period called Investiture of the Gods, which is the name of that line. But like all this stuff, you know, when Horsemen, who we both love, came out with their figure, it just opened a lot of people's eyes to these things.
Yeah.
And there's more where that came from.
For sure. Yeah, there's so much room for oh my gosh. I know, it's awesome. It's crazy.
I mean, we could just go, but like look amazing. I think someone else here, Larry, was saying we need more elephants, but just like N.E.W.'s got the elephant character from Journey to the West coming. They've got all sorts of animals.
The birds. I love the birds.
Yes.
Ooh, look at that arm. And the feet and the transition from the feet to the to the shins.
So this character transforms, and I believe he transforms into so this is human form and can do a longma, which is like a dragon horse, which they're doing. And so like stuff like that is like stuff I grew up seeing and was excited by. And then later in research and learning about stuff, I was like, oh my God, this stuff is cool. Like I love, you know, dragons. I love whatever, devils, goat people, werewolves. But there's so much more out there, right? And so N.E.W.'s also making the sort of this.
That's so cool. Oh wow. It's so inspiring as an artist to see this artwork. It's like, whoa.
Yes. So this is the Loma translated from sort of like all these historical depictions. And to think that I might be able to get one for the shelf and have things ride. Yeah, you know, have Apharius hanging out with him and whatever.
That design is crazy. Look at the top lip, the front lip of that. It's just, it just opens up the teeth, right? It's like you could just see how that biologically would work, right? Like, dude, that's cool.
I can't wait to see. Yeah, I agree. But I will just say, hearing you talk about creatures and the xenomorph, I can't wait to see your creatures, man. Like when you get to that place, I love what you've done with the sculpts. Like there's a werewolf head with the different eyes. A lot of different things that you've done. Yeah. But I know. I'm excited.
I'm excited to explore that area. And if you have any recommendations or if you have some ideas, throw them my way. We'll talk about it.
Nice. Yeah, man. Anyway, that's some of the ephemera. There's more to come. As I said, I will be doing these news breaks, shorter videos, not live, to cover some of the stuff. Because, man, I've been itching to talk about that stuff. And I'm glad. Yeah. I appreciate your responses because, like,
I wish I had a budget for all those. It's like, cha-ching, I want that. I want that. I want that. I want that. It's so cool.
I'm with you. The nice thing is, man, with the internet, we can, I mean, it's not the same, but we can just enjoy it and look at it. And these days, back in the day, man, again, it was so hard to see some of this stuff. You really had to dig, right?
For sure. So, and I think as a creator too, it's like you want to try to bring that domestically. Right. You try to, you know, it's like being a chef and you travel the world and you learn about these ingredients, these different things, and you try to create that here closer to home where you can have someone experience it. I kind of feel that way with, if you look at the designs, Nah, totally domestic looking. You can tell there's some import influence there somewhere.
Yeah, totally. I was
but it's
gonna
that research,
say,
yeah.
you're saying you want to bring some of that home, and you are, because I see it, man. You're making really cool stuff. You heard the folks who are here with us today, and they're not the only ones. Like, you know, I've shared your stuff every now and then. I think twice now since you've done the ASHEN OATH.
Yeah,
And
I appreciate that, man. And I
No,
thank you so much for having me on the show and reaching out to me and then doing the plug before and you know, getting people stirred up thinking they're all black and white characters. I love that. I love that little rumor, like, oh, is it? Like, because then it's conversation, right? People talk about it, and then you're like, oh, this is so much fun to hear.
And you can say, no, he's totally wrong, but check this out.
Yeah, exactly.
No, man, that's what it's about. And actually, I'm just really excited. You know, as we got to talk today, I still have that like rooting for the indies and the underdog, the punk rock thing of just like, I remember being like, man, I listened to some of the greatest bands that no one has ever heard of. And it always used to kill me, especially like later when stuff would become more popular and folks are like, you know, and I wasn't trying to be gatekeepy or like, you know, the older stuff's better, but it was just like, oh, you like that? You should be listening to this. And so it's the same thing. Oh, you like that classified figure? I do too. That's awesome. You love that Masterverse? Check this out. Check out what ASHEN OATH is doing. You like Skeletor? Check this out. And when they do, no, for real, people are like,
the passing of that tape. It's a passing of that tape. Like,
exactly.
Here this is.
That's what this is.
I love that.
Hey, man, thank you so much for hanging out.
Man, really for sure.
And talking, so getting to know.
Cool. Time flew, dude. I swear, it just went by.
Thank God. Went by so fast. Sorry for that weird little tech glitch in the middle, but we did it. We persevered.
Hope you have me on another time. I would love to come back.
I would love to, man. We could keep talking stuff, look at stuff, hear more about ASHEN OATH. Whenever you got stuff, even if you don't have time to come, just send it my way. I'm happy to talk about it, you and all the other indies, because I think it's not just, there's something really special happening, right? And I keep talking about it, and yes, I'm beating the horse. Sorry, PETA, but hey, like there was something really special happening in toys. And it's happening here. It's happening in some of those things in Asia. Like those are not huge companies. Those are relatively new companies. A lot of them are folks who've worked elsewhere and are doing their own thing. So I want people to know about it and sort of see all of it and be able to enjoy it. So
I appreciate that big time.
ASHEN OATH, man. Look out for it in spring. Legions Con, November 7th through 9th. Go stop by booth 25. Chat up Brian.
Be there.
All right, man.
Cool.
I thank you so much. I want to say goodnight to everybody, and look out for some shorts. Some of the figures I shared today will be popping up there. Awesome. Just trying to do the YouTube thing.
That's right.
ASHEN OATH, folks. All the links are there. Follow the links on the bottom. You'll get access to it. Spring, save your money.
Yes.
Spend your money at Legions Con. There's a couple great Kickstarters happening. Shout out to the N.E.W.S if you want to support a fan created Masters of the Universe West Coast show. In Torrance, California. Check out that Kickstarter. But then save up in the spring because you're going to be wanting to buy all-ins of some ASHEN OATH figures.
Nice. So. I love that. Thanks for joining, you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. So,
all right, man. Let's we'll call it. Thank you for hanging out for so long. This is where I awkwardly play some music and we can wave as the music plays and just say bye.
We're like, see you guys.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for struggling with that glitch, too.